River. It's not a movie with a main character. Is Beard. It's a series. It's about the journey of people with names shortened to Beard, part of a demonic bloodline. We will learn how to be a gentleman with Jonathan Hodder. It started with an accident on a mountain of England, year 18. The 6 to 8 victims were JoJo's family. By chance, a couple passing by. The smell of human life can be trash. Yes, this jewelry is sold. That can buy American grass. This mask is too cheap to buy. When Hodder woke up, he begged the couple to save him, with the baby crying inside. And since then, Mr. Hodder has been in debt to the Tooth Man and his wife. Knowing that this debt will change their lives forever. 12 years later, the baby is now grown. You're the only son of Hodder. Jonathan Hodder, also known as JoJo. As opposed to the polite style of the father-in-law, the mustache of the corn and the full. And this is Dio Brando, Jiang's son. Dio and JoJo have different personalities. Position of Origi. But remember the life-saving grace of old, so he was sent home by his father, Rosa, in the form of a full scholarship, and so Dio moved into Rosa's house. He was a cruel and unlikable man in Chow's eyes. It's a model of people's homes, in everyone's eyes. He's gone beyond Beard to education, behavior, and even the amount of fighting. Dio wants to steal everything from Techo. He has a girlfriend named Irina. He came to you and stuck his tongue in your mouth. Beard goes crazy, burst out of power and smashed Dio a match. Blood splashed on the mask to remind the viewer. It's important, but not now. There's a saying that people make dogs. In this case, the bearded dog. But it's positive. The culprit doesn't need to guess twice. Time passes by. Dior and Jonathan become a couple. But only in people's eyes. Because Dior's just playing a play to take over the Beard's vast fortune. Because the father is sick the day NDT won. It was Dio who swapped the drugs. Jonathan soon suspects this and stops him. Forbid Dio from entering his father's room and set out to find a cure. Stop your car on the most dangerous road. London meets the Steelhead Pirates. Instead of Beto grab one on 20 like Richoy, you use politeness and punch them with respect, and won the favor of the leader. Speak when Dior. Find the source of the mask's power, and bring it into performance testing city. Whoever put it on, you will have the power of a vampire. Do not fart and drink pink blood is immortal. JoJo comes home with the cure, the face of Dior, and hear him talk about repentance. It's also comforting, but the cuffs still have to be worn on the ears. He's gone according to the character development process. Dior smeared blood on the mask and put it on the substance. Back to video. After putting on the mask, he woke up. The animal inside me, with a smile as bright as a spring flower. The police officer fired a gun and took him out of the house. Through the window. In my last breath, Rob tried to finish the speech. But that's not the end. Dior is back and stronger than ever. I have this power because of my face. Blood mask of 3 people. But who asked the pro? So the 2 brothers rushed into each other's innocent play. But how do you beat a guy with power? Equal to God. Hang up and burr. Dior returns for the 3rd time and is far from over. Slow down the movie. There's a love scene between Irina and Jonathan. You both have happy days. On a beautiful day, they met a man who called himself Baron Red Polly. The first pillar of Britain, with the ability to control breathing. It's able to control the flow of energy in the body, used for combat and treatment. It's called Ripples. It's the key to defeating Dior. Dior is currently building himself an army of eyelets. We're told about the origin of the mask. Just like any other artifact, it's been found by archaeologists. And by the way, there's an ape that's activated, and the ancient power is unleashed. Depp is the only one who knows how to destroy Jonathan completes the Ripple curriculum and confront the oral exam. Surprise post-proposal in a glass filled with wine. No, its price ranges from 70,910,001 execution reactio. Evaporating guy tickling law without losing a drop of wine. Why is it a glass of wine? That's why it's gentlemen. Of course you are. Has to be a continue to the 1-term test. The problem is that the group was robbed by a boy. And solve whatever you want. Get your bag back. Slippers and Joe uses ripples to surf the water. Send waves into the rock to make the boy fall. Then it's mind manipulated. And the ripples can be removed. Everything leads to Dior's place. This is probably a semester test. As an exemplary teacher, slippers to make sample sentences, 0.5 points for students. Straight with guy. New Dior with Elsa touch is froze. Without timely assistance, maybe it has become too small. My hands are cold but my heart is hot. Let me warm it with my mounds. An extremely gentleman's interratio. Jonathan was at the same time dealing with 2 subordinates. These are the 2 knights that Dior resurrected. Protect the queen. But there was a wrongful death. Solo mode 1-1. Long hair name first spanked Knight Blafford. He knocked John Lassen down with his hair. Your water can't use the ripples down here because waves need air. I remember playing with the dog. My father taught me to swim to the bottom of the lake. Lift a rock up to release the air below. It's a piece of air. Blood circulation returns. Jonathan does a ripple blow underwater, pushing the fight to the shore. I thought I had the advantage. You're bound by the knight with your hair. But he didn't know that John could use his legs. The waves flowed into the sword and then into the hand, and it's bleeding like cheese. That's what makes you throw a bunch of punches. OT only cause damage. Also spread the ideas of Marxism-Leninism that made him vanish and handed him back the sword. To the other knight Takis. They're both locked in a room. It's called the Dragon's Lair. 2 heads each placed in the neck. A chain together and determine the date be a ship. The knight who excels in fitness. John was quickly overwhelmed. This is not the time to play military games. The boy we all saved volunteered to come in to open the door. Slippers continued to show off their skills. But for the knight, you're just a fraction. Can be shortened. He separated the numerator and the denominator. It reminded John of his father's cake-cutting lesson. 1/2 slippers on John's side. Give you all the power within you. And so John easily took down the Takis. He burned the slipper so he wouldn't be resurrected. People continue. On the way to meet Zed's master and fellow students, we finally arrived at Dio's palace. The top of the box comes first to immediately eat the face trade of Sub-Zero. More men than each other in the head. And the head of the box just in time to blind one of Dior's eyes. Before you disappear, the other to clear the hell out, send John straight to Dior. Blind spot on the right eye. You wriggle and please light your arm. It didn't stop there. The woodcutter cut the wood as sweet as reverse sugar cane. The blade pulls to the bladder. It stopped before the shock of it all. Frozen piss. Both the sword and John's frozen hands. Dior puts 2 fingers on his friend's neck and starts saying dirty words. He did not realize that the sword was being placed. A flame of heat into DK stabbed JoJo. If a ripple punch isn't enough, so a fiery ripple punch, why not? Freezing the fire in John's hands, Dior was once again knocked out, dissolves in the air. Last episode, civic fan by marriage of Jonathan and Irina. They both went on their honeymoon. If I forget to remind you of something, that's Dior. OT dead. The doctor kept him alive with only 1 head. They quickly managed to get on the boat and implement a plan to tickle the passengers inside until John finds Dior. It's easy to get knocked down unconvincingly. If you can't eat, switch to the bomb. John sending all the ripples into the healer's body. That he hugged the boat's engine to make it explode. Irina and a child were pushed into a closed coffin. John chose to spend the last hours of his life to hug Dior and say love words. Only men can bring happiness to each other. The boat exploded in the coffee. 2 survivors safely washed ashore. It's actually a ghost because Irina had Jonathan's flesh in her stomach. Part 1 ends here. I hope you know how to be my gentleman. Writhing hello and see you later. To the adventures of JoJo Part DH. 2 with the title like Death Year 19BA8. 55 after the death of Jonathan Joestar. Speedway has become a leader in the oil industry in the US. He took the Ripple brothers of old to visit a relic. Where you think there's a hidden danger. It's bigger than Dior. There is not only one here. It's all 10 stone masks. And in the middle is a large statue of a tall man. This is Shizo, a Ripple warrior who fought Jonathan. If you've forgotten, this is him in part 1. Since the Battle of the Six, he admired this villain. I want to be immortal like him. They killed all of the expedition to monopolize the mask and become a vampire. With the power that comes, the first thing Shizo wanted to do was to honor the family. That's what brings us to America, where Rose is Joestar, grandson of John Action Hoder. He is also the main character of whose short name is also JoJo. You've been able to use ripples since you were 53, but 13 years old in American school movies. One day Rose was robbed by a black boy. This who is a smart kid with genes from USMO. It's easy to get out of your sight, not with the police. The smart kid was interrogated directly in the alley the breath until Rose came along, banging police a match to save Smokey, as well as increasing the number of arrests. So you to become friends. Then Josette takes you home, and was adopted by his grandmother Irina. To talk about Josette, instead of being a gentleman like my grandfather, you have a great personality, and especially always like to read the opponent. This is also the time when Shizo found Josette. Both don't take too many words to receive a touch via a signal from the enemy. Maybe the studio was a little subjective, because people don't play kung fu in America. And in front of the fam sentry's throat, all beings are equal. The sound of back to school on the street, going through the mind punching holes in people. The trader, all expenses on the bill for the old lady at home. But that's just a stretch. With the vampire Shizo, he's a tougher opponent than Dior, because he used to be a Ripple master. The Payu towel he was wearing, it's capable of diffusing kinetic energy. Something makes Dame waves from Rose of subside. But this is America, and they're not just playing guns. Joseph was clever. Pin a row of 10 grenades on your opponent, cause Shizo to explode his teeth. But Cerezo said to slow down with a piece of body. He quickly regenerated a scratch. Know that the enemy is harder than you think. Smoke cocking Smoky card dragon. Run a circuit to the Mathan Bridge. But so Izo didn't just catch up to you. He also took a hostage. One piece of cloth covers the body. Put your hand in the girl's mouth. The more you push out the water. Now Giuseppe can't fight. You jump up and fight Soyo. Let him release the hostage. Suvo shoot the laser from the eye. Giuseppe didn't flinch. Take out the cups. Drinking alcohol and using physical knowledge to pay back. Shoot back heat rays pierce the opponent's head. Crazy Zoyozo plunged into melee and eat a jawline ripple. He threw it down, but Joseph kept him. He was too proud to be saved. Should be Seizo give up that kind of life? He used the waves to kill himself. What about the other bodies in the mass cave? One of them was brought back to the lab by the Nazis. Fortunately, when they came in, always speed Weg back and promptly run the cure. A major wants to wake up the stone man in the middle of the blood of slaves in captivity, and he succeeded. The man who woke up the Germans. He let one in to test the strength of the man. I thought he was easy to eat, but he ate too. The prey absorbs the whole body. Knowledge and linguistic intelligence. He opened his mouth, raw speaking in a modern language, calling everyone is stunned. Tantana jumped up. He took off the joint to put his whole body in the vent. Get out of the lab. It's our Joseph. After finding the location of the Nazi base, found a way to sneak in until you reach the lab. That's when Santana came out. The major ordered the brothers to let go. The bullet head is not only incandescent, Santana absorbs and shoots back. In a moment, there were only 4 people left in the room. Joseph pies Shohem and Santana. Joseph began to spend his time, because you don't know how to beat him. Because his flesh can stretch like rubber too. Plunge into Santana's lap for him to absorb. And then send ripples from the inside. Kia's body ripped apart in 2. When you see the top, you tie it up. Heard the major say that the pillar was afraid of sunlight. Joseph dragged him out and told him the smell of the sun and near the door. He binds your feet to his flesh. Quick-witted major jumps flute feet. Lie running back before. Who made his feet falter? No one else. Still the pillar. The major told Joseph to reach for the axe. Cut off your leg. Forget the pain. The Nazi major reached out and opened the door. The column's name was illuminated by the light. The flesh burns like a fire. He's almost petrified. Until it's the weirdo again. Shrink and get into the major's wound. Hiding from the Sioux. Know your fate well. Joachim held up a mandarin grenade with the Thai monster. Before the body, he told Joseph about the other colonists. And let's go to Rome for help. After thawing the flesh, the body of the man tied up cracked. In sunny summer weather, he jumped into the well to escape the heat. But Joseph was one step ahead. Stop your body. Officially closed stone. For the second time. Follow Joseph and speed. Come to Rome. They met their future ally. Is Caesar Red Polly, grandson of Red Polly, who fought with Mr. Jonathan. But they have a saying that men who don't fight are not familiar with. You just still have to move. Move your feet before shaking hands. Then be a return to the hotel to rest. At night, a young man appeared. You're Caesar's inner hand. You'll take everyone to the ruins, where the military is guarded. The columns have not awakened. It was in the relic. The soldiers discovered that there were 3 bodies of Paul. It's on the cover of a magazine. A curious soldier looked at the hole. It's given to another hole in the forehead. Because this statue has woken up. He's got blood on the lights, ultraviolet light, officially out of the wall. He walked through the soldiers. Stick it all together with your fists. To suck the life out of it. When he was full, he woke up. The remaining 2 members, 2 on Keat and Tida, bringing back the HKT team. The unsung and cruel Versio. Joseph's group also arrived at the cave. When I saw the body lying like a balloon below, be a legs men's youth dress shortage they fabric. Decided to stop the HKT to talk to the family, but the hero and his brothers just glided by and accidentally killed the boy driver. Of course, Joseph and Caesar can't ignore it. Don't forget to pose, just in case there's a video camera coming. Caesar was the first, unleashed the skills to dispatch the bubble princess, but was stopped by the hero. It's all made out of curls. OT only cut the ball, but also cut the straight. When Joseph saw that, he went up to fight with 2 marbles, the black mabo. So the hero also pays the blow. Pressure from the mighty hand swirling the rock in front of. Joseph was hiding, but he was still pretty broke. You have to pretend to be dead to get to your truck. And lured the hero into the car. But your childish tricks have been seen through by him. In front of you is a competitor. Absolutely. Knowing that he was not against Joseph, he leaned forward. A month later again, when asked why I have to agree with you, Joseph releases 3 magic words. You are afraid, so the hero accepts the challenge. He put a ring in the beard review. A month later you didn't fight him. This ring will hold. Your heart feels that way too. That's 1 to 2. Only Tai remained outside. After that, the BA flew away, a day not far from the fight. To prepare for an unbalanced match, Caesar taught Joseph how to control waves. It's like a water gun with the same amount. The smaller the head, the stronger the shot. Of course, you have thousands of new teachers. Caesar took him to see his master in Venice. It's this beautiful lady. People call her Lisa. She wears a 3-layer mask for Joseph, so you can learn to control your breath. Come to the first challenge, pole dancing hell. You have to climb a pole filled with oil. It is 20 meters high and can only be used in waves. A day goes by. Caesar is half a tree, and Joseph is still standing. I hear you remember the lesson from the day before. Use your fingers to climb instead of the table, so that the ripples that propagate raw but the difficulty stronger. Lies at the top. The higher you climb, the harder it is to hold on. Joseph saw a crevice creeping in to rest his hand. Who knows, it's a trap. Made a saw blade appear right above Joseph's head. Cut off your metal ballpoint pen. So Caesar played big, transmitting waves and feet standing upright on the pole. At the same time, it sends signals to resist the water saw blade by manipulating to different types of ripples. At the same time, Caesar managed to overcome the guillotine. I finally got up after 2.5 days. Joseph can't do that. You think of another way to take advantage of the force that drives us to the wall. Here the water pressure is lower. Easily passed through the diaphragm layer. Caesar broke the rules to pull you up. Lisa closed her eyes too. Then 2 teachers came along. They'll be tutors to Joseph and Caesar. It's been 3 weeks since the two kids started training. The evil version of HKT has sniffed it. The jewel they're looking for. It's in Lisa's hands. And the deep runner this time is On-Keat, the main vocal of the group. He killed one of the tutors. Joseph wouldn't let him leave without cutting him off. If you chase Cho, you eat a tarp. But don't ask me to snore. Because the runner now is Joseph. You blocked him with just one finger. It even punctured the exhausted man. It doesn't take half a second to cry. Use that to break your hand. Flexible swivel beard. Deploy the trick. I just put my hands on you. Column of ripples. Cut it sweet. OT only that. You destroyed the arm you just broke. It makes me cry, but it's just a way for him to release his emotions. Every rain stops. It was cold when it stopped. The feeling suddenly becomes a different person. He took the tutor's hand and put it on him. Go back to complete the CA section. It's unfinished. If the hero could control the wind, On-Keat is a master of blood manipulation. He releases blood vessels. They use them as tentacles to attack Joseph. Just move. I just used wool from my hat to make a net. And then he pierced his own body. So we can use more blood tentacles. Joseph dodged and formed a barrier at his feet, but he predicted it. His blood vessels create an even denser network. Cut off all his wool, laughing triumphantly. Because he didn't expect that. Joseph's way of knitting is to knit. Strings used in magic 2,000 years of petrification. He doesn't know this kind of rope. Joseph finished his explanation rope to tie the opponent and send ripples of attack. And that's when he was completely defeated. So Joseph solved the ring. There's still a hero's car. He returned to rest after a long fight. Didn't realize G's brain was clinging to his back ever since. While he meets Lisa's maid, Susie. Mastermind jumps to parasitize her and steal the jewel, then transfer it to the LSP. By the time people realize it's too late, they have to choose to kill you to destroy him completely. Joseph had an idea. You and Caesar are coming, a young person, a yin parasite, to threaten cancel each other. That the brain can't stand to jump out, clinging to the back of the SIG. Now you're simply turning your back. Let the light do the rest. All 4 of them left for Switzerland, where the jewel was delivered to. Before going, Joseph promised Susie, when you get back, you'll have sex with your wife. To get to Switzerland, Joseph met up with an old German acquaintance he invited. Everybody's going to rest at the mountain hotel because the army stole the jewel before it arrived. Titty's hands are flared. I don't want to sit still either. He came to the place to reclaim the goods. This time the acquaintance showed his face. Major Store Han, who thought he disemboweled while holding a suicide bomb. In Mexico, German scientists. It didn't just bring him back from hell. They even weaponized him to be a war machine. There is no meat gun. But this gun is bigger and has 600 rounds. Put Tai-Tai in the corner. It's no different than putting zombies in a dog's cage. Stone people are also people that sound too much. Tie-Dye up dancing fan / blade. Soon to find the Major. With a single stroke, he turned the Major into scrap metal, then pull out the jewel. But because of the mechanical body, the Major he shot the jewel out of Titty's hand and drift down the cliff. So Joseph and Tai-Tai wrestled together. Because the body can regenerate, he dragged Joseph down the cliff with the stone. While falling, they keep fighting. In the 10 most deadly moments of life, Joseph held the chainstone raw made Tai-Tai falter. Even if you fall down, and you can. Caesar pulled it up with a piece of wire from the ice. The next morning, the bearded man was going to hit the hotel in front of him. A perfect place to hide. Rose thinks it's a trap. But I can't stop one. Caesar hasn't been photographed in too long. Learn a little about Caesar's past. As you know in part 1, your grandfather is Red Polly. He died at the hands of the knight. To your father's life. Because of the mask, he died in front of his son. So when there's a chance for revenge, you don't hesitate. Caesar and his tutor arrived in front of the hotel. And the hero came out to welcome with a set of steam wings to refract the sun. He pulled the tutor. I'm definitely ahead because I'm a minor character. Caesar was not afraid of danger. Follow inside. It opens up another confrontation between the column and the ordinary tornado fight ball. They both fought a good fight. Caesar used bubbles to reflect light from outside. The hero has to use all his strength. Steam shield creation. Caesar is a decision. But that's when your body shielded the light. It needs to be shooting range max passion at close range. Eat that whole blow. Caesar's body is ruined. You dragged yourself to the hero's place. Increase a little strength. Caesar snatched the ring containing the antidote for Joseph. Then transfer all the wave energy in your body to form a bubble wrapped around the antidote. Heroes respect that and see Caesar as a true warrior. When Lisa and Joseph came in, it was over. Joseph recognizes your towel and the pill. Know that the enemy is hiding around, but the 2 teachers couldn't hold back their tears when they discovered Caesar's body is squatting under a cross-shaped wall. The 2 students then followed the trail of blood behind the door. Xiang and Tai-Dye were waiting on the ceiling. Bald-headed demons waiting for orders to tear to teachers and students apart. You know that fighting a bunch of people is bad for you. Lisa brought the jewel raw to ask for judgment. A girl fights Tai-Dye. And Lightning Beard struck with the hero. The host will choose the venue and format of the competition. That's the heel ring. Where so many warriors fell. They asked too. Lisa's a hostage. Let Joseph run away. Take the stone chainsaw. Not long after, he brought the stone to the rendezvous point. Test performance, give it credibility. Before getting on the floor, Lisa tells you about your true identity. That year on the ship, the child Arena saved was you. Later Lisa was shown. Joseph defeated at the beginning of the adoption film. The ripple skills as well as the jade. It all comes from him. The smell is enough. Let the HKT review the format of the competition. In the round against Hung and Joseph will play the chariot. I just rode in a chariot and fought like the Roman warriors. After each round, a new weapon will be reviewed. Whoever comes faster will win. The first round is a sledgehammer. Joseph is wise. Throw the gravel, insert Hung wheel to start and first. It's easy to get the giant sledgehammer. Finished something you never expected. Hung carried the whole column from behind. He smashed the chariot, causing Joseph to jump out. Instead of dodging you, head straight for the hero. Hammer hooks and saddle couplers jump on horseback. But when did Kia get on the horse? Suddenly his arm rise up and grasped the footprint, made him jump barefoot over the horse next to him, and then threw a huge blow into his hand. No less than heroes. Exploit Joseph's loophole by sprouting people up. Use the 10-level exercise successfully. The victory is in your hands. But now to hand. The hero can't even keep what happened. Turn back a little while being confident. The hero let Joseph tie the reins to his arms. Transmit a large amount of ripples to cut them off. Back to the present. When the face of the man is covered in butter as if he had just done 3 rounds. Is brought out. Here's a pair of crossbows that fire Congo bullets and a Korean shovel. Now the hero goes an unpredictable move. Is blind eyes to focus on the surrounding air. That made Josette seriously go ahead and pick the Congo tree. But the problem is it's too heavy to get up here. Hung ran behind to get Han's shovel. He's using heat from the bonfire in the middle of the race to locate Josette, and then shoot a phantom around the pan. The marble goes straight to the waist of the scribe. It makes you fall off the horse. But the handwriting has turned difficulties into opportunities. Use the fall to wire the terrorist crossbow. Then shoot an equally demonic shot, called Sao Ice flying backwards. Make the hero understand what heartbreak is. When they both fell off the horse. Game moves to melee mode. Put the whole pot on the opponent's face. Joseph supports to thighs with his elbow. Help Hung rest during training days. OT give up. Shoot to hands from the gap in the heart to grab Joseph's neck. When the opponent is controlled, the hero now uses the ultimate weapon. It's called the car wash head. Air intake nozzle with enough pressure to sweet cut the reinforced cement. When the wind's tongue licks across the ear, beard bouncing off a successio. He threw the Trong Sun wind oil bottle towards Hung. I can feel the object coming. He easily cut it in half. OT finished the sentence, continued to throw the string after the fire. The hero continues to shatter it into pieces, but he still doesn't realize it was the group ninja's ability to squeeze his own bird. Hung's windpipe sucked both oil and fire. Turn him into a gas bomb. The hero's body is broken, only the head is left. But with the goodness of, Joseph himself came to the blood, so that his opponent would suffer less. Because this is friendship. There's no need for recognition between two real men. To the second battle between Tai and Lisa. Competition at the Pichebarina Temple. Tai hiding behind walls full of sneak. But Lisa felt the flow of life. Miss Santo kicked the head of the pervert. At the first blow, Lisa made Tai lose face, but it's just a guy in disguise. The original Tai was behind him. He stabbed a knife through Tim Lisa. Now the only person who's done one thing is you. The victory helped Tai get the jewel. I saw the master fall. Joseph risked his life, but strength and exhaustion, the small amount of noise you can't get past the minions. I thought the sun was coming down the mountain. Then a twinkling light came. It's the Nazi major and the speed light director. The army quickly dealt with those who stood in the way. Let Joseph go and face Tai up there. He tied Lisa and the rope. And rock her down. Let Joseph have a head. You still don't know. You hold your life in your hands. It's the real mom from the Ripple training. To look young. What will the scribe do when TT cuts the rope? The answer is that you circled it over your opponent's leg. And tie the other head to my leg. In a scene that no one knows about. The sign takes the swing up and hits an overflowing blow. Ripples. He broke the blade of the sword with his arm. He struck so hard that his name fell into the forest. Look underneath the crystal that pierced 6 covers of 5 organs. Is just starting to tell the story. Lisa and George, Joseph's father, were married. He's a military pilot. He was killed by a zombie posing as an officer. When Lisa came for revenge, the military still doesn't know what a zombie is. That you are the one who committed the crime. So Lisa's wanted around the world. You left alone, and people hide it from Joseph. Irina doesn't want her niece involved. The war is back with Tai. He silently attached the jewel to the mask, just waiting for the military to put ultraviolet light in. He's like reborn, without him becoming completely different. A swirl coming out of Titty's hand, enough to destroy an elite German squad. Right now, the dawn's bright light scorched the demons. But Tai, he's even more brilliant. He's now the ultimate being, the ruler of ITV. Nothing can be defeated. The man in front of the wrong server. Joseph took the plan B, move to air combat. After understanding TT's trajectory, Joseph turns card discharge reverse, but the fire can't get through. The feather of his horns. Even when the feathers fly back, it even punctured the plane's hull, and then they turn into predatory fish. They bite. The rest of the fighter turned into giant tentacles. Hold the propeller tight, causing the plane to plummet into the crater. Joseph shoots the parachute. Tai saw that victory came, but the person inside is just a figurehead. And Joseph's still flying the plane. You crashed him into the crater with the major's cover. He sacrificed his mechanical body to save Joseph. As you jump off the plane, and tie-dye became a bunch of mucus in a lava tank. I thought the movie was over. Joseph shows subjectivity. Then a ray of light splits the earth in two. Leave one of your hands. But as how that tie-dye can survive? The secret is the insulation. Everything on Earth can't be killed. He did a little. Backstory of tie-dye. His people live in the cave. Even though there was no football in their time, tie-dye created the mask to be able to go out into the light. But they need blood. Of course, people are against it. So he's 9 tribes. Now, after 10,000 years, he got what he wanted. To become a living god. Tie-dye struck logic with 100 times stronger ripple. One more time. You take the wrist piece. Then all the energy is transferred down to the volcano. Creates pressure to shoot both into the air at an unbelievable speed. Tie-dye grew wings and flew away, but was broken by the hand of allowed to grab. Please don't ask. And then the rubble comes shooting back and forth, pushing tie-dye straight through the atmosphere, a circuit into space. In the environment, his body space is frozen. No matter how much it changes, he's still floating in space. His immortality, it became his own prison. Below, Joseph is hovering over the property for a while before it dropped. You accept death for you. And so people held a funeral for Rose's Joester. But the blog or plus sand SE is still. Joseph is back as the main character. I even dated Susie as scheduled. He reunited with Lisa's mother. Her real name is Elizabeth Joester. Then it came to America to settle down. Died at the age of 81 in the arms of the Speed family. Wang also opened a large corporation in the US. He died at the age of 89. Smart K. He became the first black mayor in his hometown. Georgia Major show, you're not seeing Zogo again. He later died in the Battle of Stalingrad. End of part 2. After credit. Joseph is now older. To fly to Japan to find his daughter as a bride of Fusong. It didn't stop there. The fisherman kept pulling up a mysterious chest. I don't know what's inside, but in a distant preso, the main character of the next part appears. Rotary. If you want to follow Rotaro's adventures, remember to subscribe for reviewer time. Each country has its own interpretation of spiritual phenomena. In Vietnam, they're called Vong Theo, and in Zozo, they're called Stand. Stand can do more than just follow. The adulterer Joseph OSA. After winning the 3 pillars, I had a good life with my wife. She gave birth to a daughter, Holy Kuo. Holy grew up married in Japan and had children. That child is the main character of this season. Rotaro Kuzo. Holy's husband then left the house to wander. One day Joseph went to Japan to visit his daughter. I know! Rotaro has injured a lot of people. With a spiritual power, you think you're dying. For fear of this mysterious power, it will hurt everyone around. He went to the police station and sat in the detention room. And I'll show you when I know the industry. This time to see my nephew. Joseph also brought a friend from Egypt. His name is Afghanistan. He also has a round. It's a rooster that punches out a fire that can fight. Under his control, Aston uses a rooster to attack the beard. And so finally the death of the beard appeared. It punches the chicken in the throat. Make the subject receive the corresponding dame in the perspective. Police officers. It's no different than a battle rap. Outside the lake martial arts. After an exchange of skills, Apple lures Beard out of jail. And together explain to you what you call death. It's called Stand. The power of Zotaro with Joseph. It's connected to Dio, the ancient enemy of the Hoda family. Dio was able to steal Jonathan Joda's lower body. Continued to exist not long before the present time. He was exhumed on the Pacific coast. Before Joseph and his brother planned to destroy him, Dior was one step ahead. He moved his centipede, Kakiyoi, someone who stands up to do the opposite. First with Taro's beard, Kakiyoi used his stand 6-0. It can change shape like a liquid and get into the subject to control like a puppet. It's also possible to condense that solution and shoot out like bullets. Of course, only the ability to shoot. You can't beat the main character. JoJo let my puncher flip too. After Onions choke Kakiyoi in excess live lack of death, Rotaro bring him back to you. Then Ra Kakiyoi was killed by Dior Sai. It's a peculiar parasite. It's rooted deep in the Rotaro cortex. With the medical knowledge that's passed, TikTok let the parasite get through me. Then destroy it and save Kakiyoin's life. Thought the storm had passed the way the walls. Rotaro's mother, Holy, has a fever. The reason is that you also stand, but the legs are weak. Soft hands like yours can't control it. If there's no treatment, it's critical. Of course, doctors can't help in this situation. So the squad goes looking for Dior. Who caused the problem? After investigating his whereabouts, in return for saving lives, Kyoan's also joined. That is the lid of the cast iron beard has been temporarily shaved. Beard Taro with platinum Venus punching ability. Star Beard with Leo rope, the same power as the Mohammeds at Dole TV Statio. Stand chicken screaming out fire. And finally, Kakiyoi with 6. It can be remotely controlled and fired. On a flight to Egypt, we all met a guy who used a stand. It's called the Twin Towers, specializing in causing accidents with its flexible body to dodge all the blows from everyone. Until Kakyoin comes out, your 6 commands create a dense network. that the bug fell into the enclosure and was torn apart. Now Sten's handler is sitting in the corner, started dying, but before being defeated, he killed all the pilots. That causes the plane to fall, by inertia. With experience or accident, Joseph landed his plane on a beach near Hong Kong, and the team decided to move from here through Egypt. They're not going to use planes anymore. To avoid involving innocent people, they now travel by sea, around the beautiful islands of Vietnam to get there. Before that, they stopped at a local restaurant, where they encounter another trainer. It's called Ponaris. He has a silver sword stand. Use swordsmanship and breath to overwhelm the enemy. Aston stood up to the swordsman. Fire chicken silver sword. I thought he was going to cut the cock clean, to display on 3 trays. But in the end, the fried chicken cuts through the armor. It's like kakyoin. The Ponaris are also controlled by Dio's parasites. After removing the meat above head, he regained his mind and thanked his brothers for saving his life. Ponaris, please join the team. Have a flexible team. He wanted to find the man who killed his sister. One of Dio's men has to right hands. If you think he's about to, more flexible, yes. And that's how men make friends. After a year of fighting, brothers on a ship, together on the waves, is still healing. There's a boy hiding his ticket. When discovered by the crew, he jumped overboard so he wouldn't be turned over to the police. There are sharks in the sea. This shark doesn't want to eat a percentage of the stock. They want to eat human flesh. So Yotaro had to jump to the rescue. At that time, everyone was a cowboy. It's actually a girl. It doesn't stop there. The captain of the ship was released for a long time. The driver is a trainer. There is a stand operating underwater. He was discovered by Zotaro. He used her as a hostage. Zotaro was dragged into the sea for saving her. Where your stand stands in front of your opponent. At this point, the main character's aura head promote, while being hit by the tornado of the enemy stand. It's mixed with the sharp fins. Yotaro fired 2 fingers out like a gecko's tongue. Punch a hole in your opponent's head, and bring victory in a way that can't be dirtier, even if you achieve complete victory. But their ship also exploded, because the phony captain planted a bomb on the ship, dealing with danger years. The brothers and the rest of the crew carried the baby girl, floating on the boat. Little escape is lost in the sea insects. I don't know if it's lucky or bad. The group encountered an approaching cargo ship. On the ship, of course, one shadow people. There's only one orangutan that knows how to smoke. He stalks Kia when she's in the shower. But the ship is still operating as if it's manned. It doesn't stop there. The machine's barbarians began to rush into the crew and take their lives. This ship is a stand, and its owner is the perverted orangutan. The ship transforms to bind Jotaro, as well as your entire team. Until now, Jotaro continues to use the finger technique. 20 gasoline punched another hole up, hit opponents, and win in a flash. Ship stand disappeared according to the owner, gradually crumbling and sinking to the bottom of the sea. The same fate as the Titanic. We're all at sea with small boats. A few days later, they arrived in Singapore, Dragon of Asia, where another enemy was sent by Dio. There are 7 plans. This name is the Giver. As soon as the Ponaris entered the room, I found him hiding in the fridge, because this idiot dragged all the water out of the raw and leave it outside. They don't even hide it. I thought my opponent was easy after a few shots, but Ponavet still doesn't know that his 10 is an extremely agile puppet, and hiding in my room. Not only that, its power will be increased by hatred of the enemy. When you have dropped the opponent, Ponaris becomes subjective and return to the room, while struggling to find the key. I've been tied under the bed by a puppet, then it chopped for legs of the bed, to lock up the Ponaris as an order. Then you guys, my friends, are still looking for a way. Netflix login in TVI. As oh should. Ponarev had to deal with a dangerous situation, alone. If you don't know, the vision of the stand depends on the owner, which means that if the Ponarev can't see the opponent, your silver swordsman can't hit him. Just like that, both people and stand by puppets carnival in the flesh. Difficult to find the wisdom. Ponaris remembers that there is a mirror in front of the bed. You control the stand to break it, and use mirror images to identify objects. When the Epiphany thinks he's got the why, the silver swordsman slashed straight through the puppet's head and cut it to deformities. I hope he's got some ID, so that his family would know the way to bring him back to the grave. This incident caused Ponaris to be questioned by officials. But the limbs of Speed Weg, waifu number 1 of the Joestar family. I saved you with just 1 phone call. In another corner, after using the power of Leo the Prophet, Joseph got a warning. There is a traitor on the team, and that's Kakyoin. Right now, he's walking with Rotaro and the little girl. In the way he's waving the Siri makes Rotaro's crotch feel insecure. And then their main character, I know how to exorcise you again. You exorcise with a punch, and make the enemy appear as he is. Make him the golden Vietnam. You can control the yellow liquid to change the shape, as well as support, or even clinging to the enemy and slowly eating away at them. From their clinging and eating Rotaro hands, burn it, it explodes and the land spreads. You can't beat it with cold heat. Hand is not finished. Rotaro thought of a plan to punch the cable car. Put them both underwater, to get the trainer to open his protective layer to breathe, to break the nose of the enemy. Force him to reveal the other trainers. because the social brothers work with integrity. So this guy's only got one back. That's the name that killed Ponef's sister. He has two right hands. While Rotaro was listening to the story and lost his concentration. This guy has an overkill. Bye! Put the liquid through the manhole cover to tie up Rotaro's hand. He forgot to tie his other hand. So his medical record is from the osteopathic department. Orthopedic surgery. The group left Singapore for India. I don't know what the author has against the land. Most populous country in the world. What greeted Taro's group was a group of beggars. And the toilet. With the guest's waste digestion system. With fresh cattle. While they're in native culture shock. His Ponara stand with two hands right ambushed. See the enemy in the eyes of Ponaris no matter. Brothers advised to deliberately splitting the group to pay the blood debt alone. To know that. To right hand with his teammates. A cowboy with a gun stand. On the way to catch Ponaris. The first to show up was the cowboy. Ponaris for contempt. Think that just take off the armor of the silver sword. They're fast enough to cut a bullet in two, but I don't know that. The opponent's stand is the bullet. He can control the trajectory. Make it go through the blade. Lucky for you is Aston arrived in time to push the Ponaris aside. Escape death in a narrow way. Until the bullet comes back. Apple plans to use chicken to melt. Suddenly the other man's face appeared. Reflection of the puddle and stabbed Apple so he couldn't handle the bullet. A tab for Dior's team. Kakyoin appeared in time to pull Bona Rep away before you die of blood poisoning. As well as time to think about how to deal with them. Stand appears in the reflection. No opponent this time. Let the front have time to rest. The mirror killer followed Theo and beat them up. Ponaris now realize how the stand works. The main opponent is to reflect light, or in other words, it moves by going from this reflective surface through another surface. That's why he pulled Kakyoin out of the car, to avoid shiny metal parts. But neither of us expected a child to come running out of curiosity. Maybe it thinks you can get money from these two foreigners. Just be that. The mirror killer jumped over the boy's eyeballs. Attack Ponaris, understand the enemy's mechanics. Ponaris tossed sand in the boy's eyes. Make stand the enemy jump through your eyes. There's no place to dance anymore. Ponaris easily identify prey and attack. The enemy must recover 10. I hear the screams of the enemy. They both ran to the abandoned temple in the distance. I can't believe there are so many refugees. Through the eyes of the 7 gods and the Asasi. Ninja slashing back and forth. Kakyoin quickly threw one coin into the sky. Attract all the glances on the side. Ponaris tossing sand. Make people close their eyes. To force the killer to jump over a flying coin. Silver swordsman tossing his sword. Slash the enemy's name while moving the surface. And finish him once and for all. Revenge for sister. The cowboy is like a duck without wings, running to save lives. Fine Utaro continued to go after losing a P-Dole. The mirror killer. He was the son of the witch. Dior. If she knew her son was dead, she wouldn't leave him alone. There are brave men. They're going to Varnason. Across the sacred Ganges River, where both humans and animals are free. Do what you like taking a shower, doing laundry, and going to the bathroom. Even if you haven't taken a bath in the river. But Rosef is still infected with the parasite. This is actually a stand. When it's on the enemy, it draws energy to grow and then forms. Eyes, nose, hands, feet. Initially from a slight itching. Gradually as it grows, the dog becomes dangerous and can attack its owner. But that ability is too easy to deal with a full person. Experience fighting like Joey. He used the Leo prophecy to map the population. And then, thanks to it, it leads to the area with the coal tar. Put your hands down. When the stand is frozen, he easily sweetened it with his Leo rope. The owner of the stand is an ant, in the body of his Indian sister. That hitchhiker group, only for Boise, Love Ponaris has fallen in love with her. The team continued on their way by car, and see her again on the boat. They went to the territory of Pakistan. There's a red car going by all the time. So people decided to get close, and of course it launched when it was discovered. Don't let the subject escape. The brothers fled through Syria. After a little a touch-up, the car was pushed over a cliff and caught fire. But there's no driver inside. The car itself is a stand. It's called a trendformer. Or in other words, a transformative car. They are armed and can communicate with the enemy. In the techniques, there are also flowers. It's still a pile of scrap metal, under the hands of White Venus in the cave of the witch. Dio's water is angry, because all 7 assassins sent out were 7 defeats to this country. She will act directly. Know that the road ahead will be even more dangerous. So Joseph asked her to come home. Or is it a warning sign? Something bad is about to happen. Today in the foggy weather. For grandchildren turn into a deserted town in Pakistan. It was empty because most of the people were trapped. The heir of the witch's stand took her life. She didn't hesitate. Appeared in front of forfeit guests. Is a kind old lady. He's driving guests back to his hotel. This time the cowboy trainer also followed. He has sex with the old woman. About my grief for the assassin. Her so. You know everything. And then she used scissors to punch a hole in his hand. And then use your lotus to put air through it. And so she can control the cowboy. Like a puppet of his. It's the same way she manipulated the whole town. As soon as the trainer tried to protest, Granny light-fisted hand. He made a hole in his own head. That's how her stand works. The opponent has a small wound. Then consider he was in the hands of the justice stand. It doesn't have to be tricky. The bones led themselves to her. Right now, the old lady started calling the zombies in town. Surround you Bonaris though carefully. But the old woman punched a hole in her tongue. Then make me lick the toilet seat. Next is Rotaro. Even with a wise name, but the number of enemies is enormous. It still makes you broken. The result is a stand of justice. But what's the result? Rotaro uses platinum to suck justice into his stomach. As light as a 100k folding sachet. Remember, your name is out. Punching out is a lot of fun. After defeating the witch, the town people are in now. It's a dead graveyard. A cowboy trainer suddenly woke up. Take everyone's car and tell Chodayo. Maybe he was alive because he could stand up. When the gun is pulled, the brothers brought the old lady to scout the news about Dio. When she woke up, we just got to the next town. Another trainer saw and activated Dior's cells in her. The witch until the last breath is still unbreathed. A word about Dior's stand. It's enough to understand how loyal the rest of the juniors are. The coach in front of him stands parasitic on the opponent. The man he chose was Joseph. The ability of this stand is to simulate damage. He took it and multiplied it with his victims. Just a touch of Taro's beard's cheek is enough to get Joseph into orthopedic surgery. So he's messing around. Wrong to make Taro Beard do enough cat tricks for me, or he'll hurt himself. In the rest, Joseph and two young men ran away to reduce the power of viewing, and then he used Leo to plug it into the street to colonize my brain. Know what to do. Kakeyuin and Po-Navi miniature stand, and into Rosev's brain to find the stand. As a result, the coach had to stand back before he steers it into Taro's beard. Then you used platinum. Crush it like you're angry, then or let him to cripple. The four brothers continue on their way across to the United Arab Emirates. I'm sorry I couldn't meet the deputy, so the team decided to ride the camel to cross the desert and chill. But it's a few kilometers away. Temperature pulled up to 60 degrees, enough to burn the three senses, all in the brothers' pants. This could just be another awesome stand, a sun that never sets. It's capable of shooting small asteroids. I thought I had fallen into heaven. But with just a little observation, Jotaro saw the unusual point of the scene. It's that some of the details are mirrored, and there's shadows on the other side. It's the mirror that the operator stands in, put up to disguise. Applying 12 physical knowledge of total reflexio, Jotaro found the trainer and defeated him. I can't believe it's just a kid. After the stand is dissolved, the sky returns to night. It was as cool as the weather that day. They spent the night at a motel. Everyone gets a good night's sleep except Kakeyuin. I dreamed I was in a playground with a dog. They're both sitting on a Ferris while watching time go by. Then there's a balloon coming towards your position. Bring a tarot card. This is Death 13. The character in the card is out swinging the scythe. Though you dodged in time, the dog next to him had no hockey watching. Kakeyuin wakes up after a nightmare, but your hand still has a cut that slipped through it. Not only that, the dog in the dream, that's the dog underneath the hotel, and he died with the same cut. Kakeyuin only remembers gills, and then you and your team take off by plane. Here comes another strange thing. People want the whole group to bring a baby. It's high fever because there's a hospital where people go. Of course the polite men didn't refuse. But they didn't expect that. The child is the owner of Death Stand 13. After walking for a while, Kakeyuin and Ponazef fell asleep. Then they were both transported to last night's dream together. Or more precisely, the continuation of last night's dream. This time the Death Stand was directly exposed. What is its strength? This dream is its kingdom. It's arbitrarily manipulating everything. And who's been dragged in here? I can't use my stand. It is a fight between man and stand. Right before the scythe, the dagger and the skull of the Ponaris were called up by Joseph. Lives in a small way, but you won't remember anything in your dreams. And most importantly, it's a friend. Kakeyuin is still in a dream. It's in here. Kakeyuin cut off his own arm to wake up, but it doesn't work. Fortunately, outside, Joseph was careless. Let the plane crash into the tree. Make Kakeyuin wake up and save a losing goal C. But like the Ponajev, he couldn't remember the baby or the stand, so we all went camping. People will spend the night outdoors while the baby is winning, waiting for bedtime. Kakeyuin pulled up his sleeves because of the stink to reveal the wound. But it's not a straight line. It's the message you left in your dreams. The baby's stand. Without hesitation, Kakeyuin dragged Stand Raw to attack the baby. But in the eyes of our friends and our children's rights activists, you're like a sick man. So Pomaz gave you a blow that knocked Kakeyuin out. And so people fall asleep. Three brothers meet again in a dream. Paula Rep explains to everyone about the baby stand and regret that I didn't trust Kakeyuin. I thought this would be the end. All for us. Death 13 appeared. Then suddenly the stand of Kakeyuin appeared. Attack of Death. Turns out you called it raw and hit it before you passed out. With his combat experience, Kakeyuin easy on Death muscle. Then he ordered it to withdraw the stand, while erasing the scars on your hands. I'm a kid, so this time I'm going to start. But the price is in the dough. The boy ate this morning. There's a little cocoon he just pooped. After returning the baby, people are going back to Egypt. Joseph takes people to an island where Apple's father lives to inform you of the death of your so. Apple's departure makes the Ponaris blame themselves. So I went to the beach to relax. How to hit an oil lamp. I thought it was a magic lamp, so I scrubbed it some. It also shows up a real stand that gives you 3 wishes. At first Ponaris did not believe, but after trying to wish I was rich, suddenly gold and silver appear next to you. You are French now. Remember your family and friends. I wish for my sister and Apple to come back to life. Keep credit. The body of her sister appeared in a bush. Not far. When the Ponaris arrive, the body flees. Until it's cornered, it turns out to attack. Bones knows this is not her sister. It's just zombies. He prayed to the genie to stand and erase it. 3 wishes are over and he doesn't want to. Should be Ponaris. Now you have to fight the zombies. Take the form of you and your sister. As soon as you stand out to deal, your silver swordsman is held back by the genie stand. Because it wants you to be torn apart by your wishes, the fight is not over. Connors lies still enjoying being beaten. As a meal 26,000. Thinking about reuniting with my sister, the best friend. Where did EP Dole break the necks of 2 zombies? Turned out in the last battle, the bullet missed Alun's skull. Although not killed, but Alun was seriously injured. And you've been quietly tracking the group. Come here with your youth. Apple punches out its mouth stand genie. The owner has to take it back. Based on the speed of the Apple stand, the owner must be nearby after a search. They both caught the mastermind on the ground and plugged the tube up to breathe. Dante rushed him to a fight. Eden even asked his friend to piss on the tube. Give water to the enemy. Soon after, we both met again. The other 3. Surprisingly, everyone knows about Apple's return. They colluded with each other to hide Ponaris. Because I think you're straight. Decided to keep Apple as a hidden card. And the Ma. Joseph said that Aston's father was also because I dress up. After fisting for bonus a match, people go straight to India in a submarine. I thought it would be safe underwater. But when it's 100 meters from the mainland, then a content appears. Can freely transform the body into all kinds of matter, from solid to liquid. As a result, it knocked him out. And at the same time spilling water into the ship. After having tried a touch withstand without losing, they all chose to swim to the shore in strange clothes because the pressure at the bottom of the sea is Joseph had to flush the chamber. People get used to it. I can't believe you took advantage of the liquid. It goes into the Ponaris airway, and from there it goes into the mouth. Lucky, Joseph and Kakiyoin used the stand to pull it out, and the seabed and turned into a giant stone face, from which it swallows everyone into its mouth. Maybe it underestimated the platinum power of Rotaro. The result was a broken tooth by Rotaro. On the shore, the owner of the Lotus is a honeycake lady. It is so cute that I want to eat it. I'm afraid there's only the bottom. If you like this video and I'm here, hello and see you later. Before entering into high difficulty battles, the whole team gets a new member, who were told that their name was superior to theirs. I can't believe it's just a dog. It doesn't know how to speak. People don't understand. But the stand made of sand is surprisingly strong. To see firsthand the power of this Iji dog, let's go to the next roadblock. A blind trainer. This guy killed 2 pilots who just brought the Iji. When the group arrives, and I saw his name coming out of the water. If you see that, Yotaro uses a tube. Look for the enemy in the desert. But in a few kilometers of vision, there's no AI shadow. The stand is still active. It's because the stand locates its prey, according to the sound transmitted on the face. The owner can feel it. With my keen senses. While sitting in the car calculating, the blind man used a stand to make the sand sink. Pull the car down. It makes people jump out. No one dares to move at all right now. Apple has a plan. You use the bracelets you throw out front. The blind man thought it was a walk. As soon as he called the stand Apple immediately called the chicken skin. But also with my keen senses, he narrowly dodged the attack and counterattacked. Zotaro sees his friend in danger. They run fast to attract the enemy. But Rotaro is not a risk taker. I ran to the Iji dog because I know its sense of smell is good. It's clear that it smells the enemy. So I used it with the stand. It's incalculable transformation to find its way. The blind man doesn't fit. He relies on the distance that Rotaro paddles for momentum to determine the Iji stand. Though, use the sand stand in the air to detect the location. These are not positions right now. Even the shape is completely recreated. So the blind man easily shot down Zotaro and Iji. The 2 are just over 100 meters apart. But it's still too far from Zotaro's reach. Don't let the enemy win. He threw the dog straight at the blind man. Stabbed in the face by X's stand, the blind man dropped his stick and lost track of Jotaro until he got his stick back. Yotaro was standing right behind him, just waiting for that. Yotaro uses platinum to choke his opponent's pawn. The blind man knows he's lost. He used the stand to end himself. OT to disclose information, but he still reveals to Yotaro about the remaining 8 servants in front of the very powerful. Ready to sacrifice your life because Dio is like him. The blind man is so loyal. Dio was the one who let him stand. as well as living, and then everyone's driving up to catch you. The next opponent waiting for the team is two brothers, Oingo and Boingo. Kid, you have the ability to change your appearance to someone else. My brother owns a comic book. You can predict the near future, what it wrote in there. It can't be changed. On the next page, the book says that the two brothers will meet Taro's beard group. They'll stop at a bar and have tea. Take advantage of that. He disguised himself as an employee, poisoned in tea. But just before the tea is poured into the mouth, then X-Jai ran to mess up. The two brothers' plans fell apart. So my grandfather kept painting. This time the accident came to the Taro group more clearly. It says that you're going to make a bomb and throw it in the group car. Then the bomb exploded and destroyed Taro. Follow the instructions. Brother name, make an orange bomb and put it in the group's car. But before he could escape, Joseph returned to not be discovered. He changed his form into Jotaro. Right now, he knows that who's in the book with a tragic death. It's not Yotaro, it's yourself. Then he tried to get out of the car. Because if you transform right here, you're going to get hit. Unfortunately, people are not equal to nature. In some magical way, the bomb rolled to its feet, while his brother is running and boom. In the end, both brothers received 7 defeats, even though Taro's group doesn't know they're the enemy. The next person the team has to face, but not more precisely what. The next stand is called Anubis. It's hidden in a dark sword. There was a man today who deserved to pick it up and be chosen. He will be manipulated by the sword and kill the Rotaro group. Let the swordsmen fight each other. Chaka versus Ponares, a public fight when he went to the Ponares. Although the sword is extremely phantom, but with more advanced combat experience, the Ponares won. As a swordsman, Ponares steal your own sword. He is smitten by it. Take it with you wherever you go, and almost lost his life when it borrowed the hand of the bishop to assassinate you. This barber is much stronger than his previous opponent. That's why Ponares are hard to fight. Lucky to be next to Taro Beard. Talk about fighting. You're not as physically strong as your platinum. Rotaro knocked down the barber and broke the sword. I thought it didn't work. When Ponares are picked up, and Ruby takes over their mind, it controls the pawn of that pull stand silver swordsman. 2 hands to swords against Rotaro. As a result, Rotaro was pierced through the stomach by a broken sword. When the blade is a finger away from the kidney, you use a stand to break the blade with the other sword, and win in the hour of death. But Ruby still has half the original blade. He attracted the child across the street. Pick yourself up and steer it straight towards Rotaro, who are running out of energy after the last blow. I don't know where he came from. He stumbled, threw the sword straight into the Nile. Now, just pray that some detective will stop by the Nile and dredging the bottom of the lake. Once again, everyone is on their way. Wow, kakayoi. For the hurt of dealing with the blind, I have to stay in the eye care center. It's out there. On the way to scout, Joseph, out of curiosity, touched a strange electric socket on a rock and get yourself electrocuted. You don't know what the enemy has put up. A female trainer with a stand. The cat got paced. It makes Joseph's body a magnet. Mobile then connected. Then the bad crying and laughing came to him. This beautiful girl doesn't mind showing up and pulled him on the escalator with a chain. If there is no Aston in time press stock, maybe he was torn apart. Joseph, after being saved, to the Aston boat chasing the Kia girl, but Aston didn't expect it when he pressed the stop button. I touched the girl's power socket. Now you and Joseph are magnetic, and suck it together. I can't run anymore. The situation is becoming more and more difficult. When do grown men touch hands? No matter how hard they try to separate, the two of you look even more ridiculous. Until everyone is in one place. Joseph and Apple are excited. That gets itself sucked into the tracks. There's a ship flying around right now, until you can't get out. Apple chooses to use fire chickens to burn the tracks. Let them both fall into the hole. That's why the train goes by. If you keep chasing, it'll be hard for both of you to catch her. So Joseph thought of a way. You're going to run from the opposite side and create pincers until the opponent's death will form. That's a hamburger. Last trainer. Beautiful woman is defeated by her own lotus. Who stands in the way next? They are much more cunning than those before them. His name is Lightning, and own stand representing the storm god. And because of that, the first time I met you, the bones smelled of training. Without hesitation, he drew out the silver swordsman to test his heart. Of course, these two heads have to pull their own stand. That guy allowed him to last. Her own shadow touches the Ponares feet. But that's not the only possibility. When Ponares chases him, your body is getting lower. Until you realize. Then he himself became a child. It's no different than the drugs Conan took, except that it rejuvenates the Bonnevit's brain. It makes you forget your teammates. So what about Stan's baby lock Bonnevit? It also makes your Stan a baby. The power is reduced exponentially. Even so, he found a strategy to deal with the enemy. I know I can't last long. Bonnevit takes advantage when someone passes by. Dio clung to his skirt to avoid fighting. How lucky is the beautiful girl brought home to wash? The wound is drowning in a dream. Real Bona Rep took precautions and didn't realize that. Since when did the two men sneak into the bathroom? The question is, where did my sister go? What did he finally do? The results are immediate. When Ponazef flipped the 2-string shirt she was wearing, the red fetus is still fluttering inside. For not being able to escape the house, so I hid in an aquarium. And then use a mirror to create the illusio, tricking name to crest. Until he's caught off guard, Poliers takes advantage of the opportunity. He used a swordsman to stab him through the nose. He was so hurt that he jumped out the window. Unfortunately, just in time for Rotaro to pass by. Even if you turn Rotaro into a child, but he didn't expect you to become a bear. From kindergarten year, the result is still punched in the face. After defeating the trainer and return to adult form, Bonnevette meet nice sister a guy, but you pretend you've never met. Even though your heart has moved because you know life is going to be here tomorrow. And on your shoulders, you still have the responsibility to carry. So Ponaris and Rotaro came back. Reunite with your team. Right now, Mr. Rosef used his power of prophecy to find Dior's lair. But it's just a picture of the architecture of a castle. So the whole team has to come over here to investigate. When we stopped at a roadside pub, when I hear about asking for directions, then there's a guy who says he knows exactly where it is. The conditions for him to reveal. We all have to play some games with him. Of course, this guy's a trainer. He threw out to pieces of meat and asked the boner rep, the cat out there will bite. If you answer correctly, will he show you the way? The Pona rep soul will be taken away. I thought he was joking, so I was done. Who expected the cat to bite the other piece? That's the gambling king's stand. Pull the Pona rep soul out of the body. Everybody's panicking, but dare not take Octio, because if Kia dies, the Bona rep's soul will follow. The only way to save him, the team has to gamble with him. Talk about the history of this guy. He has a whole book. Album The Gamblers Who Lost Him. Of course there's a collection of souls. If he wants to play, Joseph ready to go. This time he also brought his soul. But the game is your choice. They both drop coins in a glass of water, and the one who spills the water out before that person loses. I thought that choosing a game cabinet would give me an advantage, but Joseph didn't expect this guy to overdose. He dropped 5 in the cup without giving up easily. Joseph drops another penny, and that comes with a trick. He pushes more water from the cotton ball in his hand to get the water level up to the limit, and he didn't expect that his opponent, he can still drop another penny. The reason is before playing, this scoundrel smeared some chocolate on the bottom of the cup. Make it lean to one side. It was his turn to let the sun shine. Make the chocolate melt, and bring the cup back into balance. Unfortunately, Zotaro found out. Joseph lost and lost his soul who came to this country. Tartaro went out to save himself and his friends. The game you choose is poker or chess. In the first deal, Yotaro found out that this guy's trying to cheat. He broke one of his fingers. The game continues when you call a boy. And deal cards to increase attractiveness as well as fairness. He split the soul of Apple and Joseph Raw into 12 chips to be a betting unit. About the rules of this game, each person will be given 5 cards. Both are entitled to change their cards at once. Finally, the AI card is bigger than the person who wins with a double chip because advantage. There are 2 souls. That gambling charges an extra chip to pressure. Rotaro after changing BA leaves. I think my posts should follow. As a result, his 2 pairs are bigger than yours. The first game Ghost Gambling wins and Jotaro left BA chips. For those who don't know, gambling is red and black. And with this gambling Ghost, everything is in the calculation. Everyone in the bar. Even this guy is his guy. So I played the losing part. Even so, Jotaro did not falter after the game. You don't want to turn the cards. You bet the chips. I didn't change any cards. Silver Ghost's name after Magic Get for card CA. He bet all his chips. So if Rotaro wants the yo, you have to bet. Both Aston Soul and Kakyoins are in the hospital. The devil is sweating because of that. It's not the largest, but it's also very low. It didn't stop there. In the game of life and death, Rotaro decided to raise the bet, dragging my mother's soul into the game. Lie too much and also very bold. The conditions you set for your opponent. He must reveal the power of Dior's stand. If you lose the bet. When I heard this, I was in a cold sweat. It was no different than a death sentence for him. If he thinks about it, he is a very good soul. This price he did not dare to exchange. So Rotaro won the war. When your post is really no damn thing. After the demented spook, all souls are returned. All the souls he holds. It was also returned to the cowardly cowboy on the situation report Chodayo. Then he was ordered to go to battle himself. If you don't complete your mission, don't leave. This cowboy, for encountering many times with the Taro bearded group, you should know your own power very well. As should. He invited another comic boy to come with him. The boy persuaded the cowboy. Let's follow the comics. If you don't want to pay dearly. So the cowboys did a really good job. It's a silly thing to stick your hand in the Ponaris nose. As the story says, then the whole Rotaro team will bleed out. Who knows where it came from? A rickshaw that crashed straight into the Rotaro group. The book has never been wrong. Instead of taking advantage of the opportunity, the cowboy continued to follow the instructions in the book. Is to wait until exactly 12 o'clock, and then magically fired a bullet into a water pipe. It bounces back and forth and goes through the water pipe over there, where Rotaro is standing. But the bullets just flew out. Then on this side, Pona rep sneezes, cause Rotaro to be pushed out. That's why they dodged bullets. The cowboy was upset and blamed the boy for it. But then he realized he shot early. The clock in his hand was ticking. When you're busy blaming yourself, his bullets went back to the traitor. That's the consequence of leaving the book. Or do Jotaro have AMR blog to strong? Let's just ignore that. Because we'll come to the part where the Iji is trained. The thing is, you're peeing on the street. I hit the falcon right in the face. Or more precisely, an eagle with a name. It's guarding the gate. Dio's electricity and anyone who wants to spy on it. They are all treated beautifully, with chunks of ice shooting out of their claws. I see the bad victims. Just pretend to be stupid and back off. Until there was a boy. To find my dog and get into the palace. The blood of heroes rises. XJ came back to protect the boy. And so the bird-dog fight between ice and sand begins, receiving consecutive ice spears from the enemy. XJ only knows how to run and make sand shields until they're cornered and run down the drain. Still can't figure out how to deal with the bird. Even when the enemy freezes one leg, you had to sacrifice it for your life, then use a stand to hide in the water and get oxygen. Above the falcon is no less, with the body of a predator. He dived into the water to find the rest of the dog meat. There is no way back to this country. Iji counterattacked the predator when he's no longer as mobile as he is on the ground. Even if you win the final. But he was too tired to swim to shore. Memories of my brother's friends come back in your eyes. Iji is your boy. I just saved my life and caught you. After being bandaged, Iji went back to find everyone. By this time, Kakyoin had also recovered his sight and joined the regiment. Come with me to the palace of Dior. The end of the adventure lay in front of them. Just walk into the campus. A neighbor flew in to say a polite hello. He's one of the other two guards. He's also the younger brother of a gambling ghost, even though the people in front of me hurt my brother. But this guy has a little bit of a stomach. He thought it was the end of the loser. He also took his stand and show its power. It's about bringing people into your territory. Like my brother, Dabi has a hobby of collecting the souls of others, with an intense passion for games. You can call him a game junkie. He's making conditions to bring people back into the world. Actually had to beat him in a racing game. And the person assigned to solo is Kakyoin. After checking the equipment, see if you have third-party software installed. Both get involved. Racing with knowing ahead of the OV. DB cross front and continuous fuck head, so that Kakyoin can't pop up. The guy who just opened his eyes didn't fit. You spam for button moves. Make the car spin like a pinwheel and push the Dabi off the side. The balance is established. But with the tornado though, Kakyoin's car burned more energy than the competition. That leads to work. Your car is weaker in fights and has fallen behind. The result is Kakyoin 7 failed and suffered the deprivation of his soul. Right now, Rotaro continued to firmly accept the challenge. Just like poker, Rotaro walked into the game with confidence. Both will play baseball. Alternate between throwing and hitting the ball. After a while, change the throwing position continuously. Still caught by the opponent. Rotaro thinks Dabi's stand can read his taste. So you said it first. Let the opponent go to his next move. After analyzing the soul, Dabi knows Rotaro is telling the truth. He didn't expect to throw it. The ball goes around and hits the point. Then Ryutaro discovered Dabi's stand. You only know what the opponent is thinking. If he gives a sentence, ask yes or no. But how do you keep fooling it? No one knows about Dabi. To panic, Dabi to lose points constantly and lose the fighting spirit. In the end, he took 7 defeats and must return Kakyoin's soul. At this point, he realized the controller is Joseph. When he linked the Leo wire stand with the handle, and Dabi's reading Taro's mind. To get the why, 3 people walked out to reunite with the rest. During that time, Gonairs and Iji went upstairs. We're the last French guard, and Dior's strongest is in trouble. He is a stone, a cold head and a heart that doesn't belong in ice. Stone is unforgiving and has no sense of humor. As soon as he appeared, Stone trigger stand and finish Apple. In one note, exactly the body. Apple was swallowed by his stand in one private space, permanently dissolved. And then he goes back into the void. That the Iji can't sniff out raw. It's an invincible stand. In terms of attack, stand of stone. Let it curl up into a ball of nothingness. Where does it roll? Matter dissipates there. Not only that, the stone itself can stand and hide. So it's not possible to respond. So Pono Rep and Iji have 3 legs. Running position to think how. And then the Iji came up with a way. It transforms its stand into a deer shape to cross the rock. But he knows Dior would never walk down the room full of this golden sue because Dior's body is still a vampire, afraid of exposure to sunlight. And then he threw his anger at the Iji. It's like a Ponara's dog, although very angry. But I still calmly think of tactics. He used his sword to smash the dust in the room. For the stand of the stone devoured everything in his way. That's why Ponaras figured out his trajectory and slanted through his throat a little. He didn't flinch. The stone pulls the silver swordsman's other hand into the black hole. If Ponazef hadn't pulled out in time, you have lost your hand. The situation is becoming more and more dangerous. When Ponazef was kicked in the middle of the room, It's getting narrower. With the injured body, I can't help but watch the ball go forward. To my side, maybe it's time for Ponares to reunite with his friend Adol. In the hour of closing your eyes, Ponares suddenly astons to severed arms and stand. XJ saved lives even if 6 covers of 5 organs were crushed. But the dog still had the last bit of strength to save you, and right now, the bones recognized that the opponent had received Dio's blood. So I started chiseling walls to get the sun in. That's how you beat the competition. In the sky, Ponares see the soul of a friend with a loyal dog. But now is not the time to cry. Ponares continued to advance upstairs, where you met Lord Dior, the last boss. I don't know if it's because I lost too much blood or not, but Ponares just walked a few steps. I found myself jerking back down, are preparing to engage each other. 3 Rotaros broke through the wall and entered. When the sun came out, Dior hurried away. Bonaret panicked. Tell everyone about his stand. What makes pink look like a 4-letter net? Bring along the curiosity. The whole group goes to the roof, where Dior is in a coffin. Joseph asked his subordinate to open it, but only in a flash. Before anyone can see anything, the Kia immediately appeared in the coffin, and Dior's been out ever since. I feel that this power is too great. Everybody pull together, go outside. At least, no one knows the power of Dior. Something so powerful. And also apart, the sunset is falling, and maybe it's better to fight Dior and Dawn the vampire. After being boiled, his followers have no patience. He officially went down the street, determined to destroy the Hoda clan. Dior gets into a senator's car and had him drive me after Joset's car. At this time, the Joset group split up the 2 of them with Kakyoin, and the 2 Kia create the pincer. After a quick exchange of tricks and getting punched in the mouth, discovered raw stand world of Dior. Have a short range and play Tabo. So, you and Joseph left the car to attack him from a distance. Your plan is to stretch your 6 into a network around Dior. From there, I discovered both his movements and his stand. Since the enemy is trapped, you do a preemptive strike with hundreds of stone bullets. But that's when Dior activated the world. Immediately Kakyoin knocked out the back. The same space in my heart. And no AI. Whether you or Joseph noticed what just happened, Kakyoin fell into red alert. Your brain start flashback to your life and family. Between the lines of Kakyoin regains final sanity. To deduce the power of Dior's stand, you look up at the clock. There hasn't been a delay since you started. Until you take back the damage. Should be. The power of the world is to freeze time. That's why no one saw his attack. With my last breath, Kakyoin shoots rocks straight at the watch. I hope that Joseph can understand his meaning. Then Kasoin officially closed his eyes. Your grandpa's no mercy Joseph with the mind burrow. It didn't take long to judge Ra. Instead of dealing with him, Joseph uses the leopard to report to the other 2. Right before to finish talking to Rotaro about the power of the world. Then Dior activated Stamagai. Stop time for 5 seconds and threw a knife at his neck. Go ahead, the second one's gone in the blink of an eye. Now Dior stood proudly in front of a Rotaro. I don't even understand what's going on. Even so, Rotaro knew. The opponent's stand is the same type as mine. Every sin has the power of time you don't know. So it was Yutaro who asked Dior to turn off the bottle punching skill. The vampire also happily fought the young Ma. The more hit, Platinum is proving to be weaker than the rest of the world. Seize the opportunity. Dior launches a time-lapse to end Yutaro. But as soon as Ra strikes in stationary space, he saw Rotaro's finger move. Dior saw this happen for the first time and got a little scared. He is afraid that stand of Rotaro has the same ability until he tried again. It's like having a sense. Rotaro's Venus spider suddenly wakes up. In a moment, punch him in the stomach. While time freezes, Dio fell to the ground. It takes some time to recover. He then returned to attack Yotaro. Because I think your stand just stops time. Good for a second. So this time, Dior's going to throw 10 knives at you from a distance. Of course, Yotaro couldn't fight back. Not a small amount of dame. I know I still must be Dio's opponent. So Jotaro faked death to find the prey lying still. Roadside signs. It's all a blow to the head. As soon as he swung the Ponares, suddenly appeared slanting a sword straight into the brain. No, but Dior activated the world before the brain was damaged and fought back the French swordsman. Dior then turned towards Rotaro. This time he listened carefully to the heartbeat. To avoid emitting signs of life, you used platinum to squeeze your heart. Just waiting for that, Dior carelessly advances to Rotaro without using stem. Rotaro seizing the opportunity, a blow to the enemy's face. Taking advantage of Dior being stunned, you keep hitting him so he can't use 10. But in a moment, oh need, Yotaro knocked out Dior Ra over Joset's body. And that helped him drink the blood of the Hoda family. Ow! Dior's body merged with his lower body. In other words, he's the perfect version. 2 seconds is the current limit of Rotaro. 9 seconds left is the amount of time Dior can freeze. If you do not use stand properly, Rotaro can't have a door. With 7 seconds Dior difference, throw a Lucar straight at Rotaro. But Zotaro waited until the 9th. When the wheel hits the ground, you activate Platinum Venus and get out of Lou's car for a second. 1 second left. When Dio is in freezing time, Zotaro approached him and broke his legs. Dio was thrown away. The mouth is clean. I can't believe I've been a devil for 100 years. He was out playing in just one night. And Rotaro has a confident attitude. Slowly walk towards Dior. You're ready to let him heal his body. Then do a fair finishing blow. With an ice-cold face, Rotaro splits Dior with a punch. After winning the victory, Rotaro carries grandfather's body in an ambulance. He asked the doctors for a blood transfusion from Dior in return. Of course, French blood in Jong. But Ponaris still chose to go home. Even though you have no family now, Aris still chooses to go home. Even though you have no family now, and so the 5-6 now have 3. He finally managed to defeat the evil Dior. At home, Japanese daughter Holy. Rotaro's mother is awake. That's the end of part 3 in the strange journey of the strawberries and bowls. Hello and see you later. Quick summary: be a previous part, be a lifetime to persevere against the superpowered vampire, most likely gay. Close 2 to the 4th part. Author Hirohiko Araki. Take your child back to Japan. 11 years after his victory over Dior, Yotaro is present in Japan to visit his grandfather's batso. His name is Yosuke, a high school student in the town of Mario. Until that AI blames your hair. Of course, Yosuke has a stand. It has a strong melee capability. It's similar to Tero's Platinum. But the difference is that Kim Kang's stand is crazy, able to heal in his every punch. In other words, a healer. So let's see how a healer carry a full Zoro movie. How to go back to Yotaro film circuit. Quickly find Yosuke, the person Theo is supposed to call you. After a standing greeting, Zotaro reveals why he's here. Because in this Morioto, there's a dangerous criminal out there who Mr. Rose thinks can harm his bad child. That criminal is now harming a hostage on the street, and that German salted Yosuke's hair. As you pass by, so you step forward. He used his stand to punch them both in the stomach, then heal them as originally, and left the criminal's knife in his stomach. This thing with crazy Kim Kong is as natural as breathing. Right now, a stand out of the mouth of the murderer. Turns out he's the one who's manipulating everything. That stand saw Yosuke again in a day not far away, before escaping into the sewer. As far as it says, it's as far from here to your house. The name of the stand owner who mined the Yosuke house. He gave his stand to perfection. It's in your mother, it's in the tap water. Yosuke did not hesitate. Punch your mother's guts to moi content raw, and then put it in a glass vase. All the bridge surgery process. It took less than a second, and your mother can barely feel it. To catch the water stop, Yosuke called Chotaro to deal with it. Just think it's over. I thought your grandfather would suddenly visit to see the opportunity. Turn his body into booze for grandpa. Open the lid and take a sip. And so the bleeding man left. As soon as I saw my grandfather roll his eyes, Yosuke used his stand to intervene. But it's too late. Your crazy gold can't bring back the dead, and the pervert is still out there. Control your stand. Infiltrate the home water system. You thought that. Just close the water supply and it'll drain. Who suspects? He followed the rain and brought a stand into the house. Follow the steam into Yosuke's mouth. He didn't expect. You swallowed a rubber glove in your throat. And so the hydrophobic stand was caught again. To avenge my grandfather, Yosuke makes the criminal one with a stone, making it an expensive tourist destination. I don't know about Morio, whether they are buried alive or not. The criminal is still. Tell the two of you how he got to stand. This power is given to him. The night before his execution, there's a guy in a school uniform. The self-proclaimed false hand of Dior has arrived and stuck an ancient arrow in him. Something for him. This stand. The criminal said that if Yosuke killed him, there will be others looking for you. Then one less person doesn't matter. The next day on the way back to school with Yosuke, my new friend came to an abandoned house. She was so curious that Waichi put her head in, and as a result, they were captured alive by the Nijimura brothers. More surprising, the keeper of the ancient bow and arrow is you. He shot Koichi to make you a trainer. Follow my orders. But the Waichi name is just lying motionless, not turning into Superman. That's the enemy. Yosuke dragged stand raw to talk. My brother is Okuyasu. He also brought his hand to receive. Maybe he's never had a girlfriend since he was a kid, so his hand is incredibly strong. If Yosuke's insane diamond is able to control Z, the hand is Del Lete. Good luck for Revercho Yosuke. When the one who owns it is a guy who only grows hair. When Okuyasu goes to lead the space between the two, he accidentally pulled the flower Smack pots. Me in the face. Make way for Yosuke to enter the house to get your friend's body back. Due to his impatience, Yosuke was caught off guard. Fortunately, there was a warning from Okuyasu that Yosuke dodged in time. Shots from his brother's name stand. But it's the informant who becomes the victim. Yosuke immediately dragged his brother out of the house before taking the second shot. Then you use the insane diamond to cure him. Unfortunately, it can't cure the owner. Okuyasu is angry that his opponent saved his life, and you use saving Ichi to pay off her debt. Leveling with the healing power from the crazy diamond, little boy wakes up. They both want to get out of the house together. My brother's name appears. His name is now in its original form. or more precisely they, is an army of toys shooting out ammunition. It's not only Yosuke but Ichi who sees them. That proves it. You got the power to stand after you ate your nose. Kia knows that name. Brother directly attacks Miss Ichi, so you have to pull out the reflex. It's an egg. Maybe we'll sit and watch it bloom. If this is the Animal World program, but in this battlefield, anything that moves is shot. Yosuke pushes his friend and spirit child aside. Though, you make plans to confront an entire platoon when his brother thinks that with the advantage of numbers, can overwhelm Yosuke. Yosuke used the power of Kim King, crazy 2 missiles, and get it back to where it was produced to take the victory. But your body is covered in injuries, and Ichi still wants to destroy the ancient bow and arrow, so it can't hurt anyone else. So he invited Yosuke upstairs, where it's being hidden. When I just opened the door, Ichi was pulled in by a monster arm. Yosuke saw that and pulled the stand and punched off Kia's hand. The monster is the father of the 2 brothers. It used to be hard work. He came to Dio with a contract, in exchange for wealth. Soon after Dio died, the boils he planted in his head, he began to act and turned the father of 2 brothers. He became an immortal monster, my brother, because of pain. So day and night we use the bow to create practitioners, not to be cured, but to find someone with power. I can finish my father. Past days, people, you've created countless trainers in Mario Town, and he didn't realize that right now. There was one who had been given power by him, snuck into the house over the power line. This power stand ended his brother's name and stole said bow in front of my brother's body. Okuyasu is determined to pay off this blood debt. After that day, Okuyasu, Yosuke and Koichi become your next friends. By Mario's school. One morning on my bike ride to school, Miss Ichi bit through a cat that was lying in a sack. It was seen by a man, and he's going to blackmail her. Of course, this is the scene that he set up. Not only that, he's a coach. His stand, make the key between the opponent's chest. It's going to grow according to the guilt of the prey. This is Anchi. At the same time, Yosuke and Okuyasu are there to solve the problem. Okuyasu stepped forward with a punch, flying a front tooth of this scavenger. That's why. There is also a big lock in front of you. There is only Yosuke now, who was watching everything. You calmly open the sack raw. Inside is just a cat. Then you use the crazy diamond teeth for the scoundrel. From there, I made the guilt of my 2 friends go away and break the lock. But the scoundrel doesn't want to stop here. That afternoon, he followed Koichi to his house. This guy made up a story. Koichi had the wrong wallet, and spending money makes Koichi's mother feel guilty and grow another lock. I saw my mother being attacked. Koichi wakes up and makes it come out of the eggshell. Inside is a blue puber. Punching has no damage, but it's capable of writing characters on others and make them believe it. Ichi used it to make her believe in him instead of lies. And the scoundrel, after getting punched, looks at Miss like Ichi a king with all his heart. In addition, he provided information. He knows. It's about a student who became a coach at Mario's school. Is Hayamada. That kid used a stand to hook your eyes in the hospital. Hold according to the photo. Yosuke begins the investigative work until you open the suspect's personal locker. Right into a puppet, or rather the name of Hayamada. It immediately turned into Yosuke, from shape to voice, and control Yosuke to copy his every move. Almost. Yosuke has lost an eye if you don't try to turn the pen down. Right after that, Hayamada led according to Yosuke's Sao to hell. Monster. He even used it to make a date with Rotaro. Yosuke group. When you know, go ahead and warn them. But I can't believe the Hayamada is one step ahead. He's behind a hidden glass. Control Yosuke through the puppet. Yosuke makes a move to assassinate Rotaro. Right at the moment of decision. There are 2 social brothers out there. Hayamada's summary. Turns out it's in return for Yosuke's treatment. Of course, the neighborhood boys are extremely affectionate. After questioning, Hayamada doesn't know the name of the electrician who killed brother of Okuyasu. Maybe he's just an arrow victim. Not in the line. In the hospital bed, the long-haired guy said, those who stand will find each other. It's like an invisible force of attraction. That's right. By today, your friend Ichi. I was asked out by a girl from the same school. She's fascinated from your appearance to your personality, and in particular, she's also a trainer. Every crime is. Zukaku's personality is possessive and a bit outrageous. When you see another girl close to you, Waichi Yoko was almost burned alive. She with her hair stand. Fortunately, the Yosuke couple followed and rescued in time. And Waichi still can't get rid of the slut. Love speaking in the language of the moment. This is called a toxic relationship. Basically, Yoko just wants to own her chi, not thinking about your feelings. She was kidnapped to her girlfriend's house because of the wrong love. And the only danger is that there's no AI around. So Koichi thought of a way. You wait for Chozukaku to go to the phone booth. Use your stand to give orders. Press the number of Zotaro's side Kia head to. You can hear the ocean's waves. Well, guess the situation. Then narrow down the position and find out the love castle. He was there after discovering that Koichi was taking advantage of him. Yoko was angry. Back to the combat house. At this time, suddenly stand the reply of Koichi molten. To transition to the next form of evolution. As the second level feedback. Now letters can be put on things. to give them special properties, like a blown door or a hot handrail. As should, it makes the house a wall to protect you from your crazy girlfriend. Love Yoko escaped the ghost hair ear white. When hatred has overwhelmed love, she massages Justin of her Italian chi. Good luck for you. The rock beneath Sakaku's feet cracked and she cracked. But thankfully, the feedback turned it into a wild animal. These 7 defeats make Sakaku feel guilty. I won't control you anymore. But the kindness from Miss Ichi, it deepens your feelings even more. Maybe love alone is the most beautiful kind of love. One day Okuyasu came with Taro's Beard, an Italian restaurant, to see if it's as good as it sounds. There is a special menu depending on the customer. The chef will make it himself. Maybe he's a theologian. By pointing through the hands of Okuyasu, I knew you had diarrhea last night. I'll make you one. It's good for your bloated stomach. It's delicious. While waiting for both, try a sip of mineral water on the table. The water is not as sweet as Ryu's mother said, but it also makes people lose sleep as long as Okuyasu drink it in sober. A few minutes later, the chef brought out the mozzarella pasta. Okuyasu is like being reincarnated. It's a combination of the mild flavor of cheese. Mix it up with succulent tomatoes. It makes the tip of your tongue shiver. In a way out of control. But more importantly, the dead skin on the shoulders comes off. Skin like a naked lizard, and it made your shoulder pain go away. Then the chef asked permission to clean up the dead skin to quickly cook the remaining warm pasta. Okuyasu is happy to use functional foods. And Yosuke has a problem with this chef. It should be the next one. You use the stand to restore the pasta. About raw materials. Let's first see what the chef cooks them with. It's all because of the stand. So Yosuke rushed into the kitchen to expose the trainer. In the end, there's no dark intent. The chef has the power to stand, but only use it to help your customers. Because of that unfortunate incident, Yosuke has to stay at the restaurant to clean up the mess I made. I'm playing video games at home tonight. Yosuke was not invited to visit by the contact. He wants to test the power of the Mad Diamond because he sees the similarity between it and Platinum of Yotaro. That is, he doesn't know who's the main character of this part. And then after fighting the enemy, Yosuke let everyone know, let's meet on a lawn. Plays away from electrical appliances because from then until now, the electrician's name overheard all the stories. The whole group discussed it. Rotaro said that Joe's boss is on his way to help. By the way, visit the that he did not provide enough 5 million. I can't believe that was bugged by the caller. When he got into the battery of the motorcycle, the electrician stole the motorcycle and escaped, but was clasped by the Okuyasu with his hands as it continues to close the gap between the two until the prey is in danger. Okuyasu is still being used by him. Let him dig a hole in the ground and hit the subway line. Give him a chance to recover as soon as he recharges his mana. The electrician cut off Okuyasu's damaged right arm. When the prey has broken its teeth, he puts you in the electric current, the same way he killed your brother. But this time Yosuke knew what to do. Using Kim's power to get mad, the hand broke off and restored it. Or in other words, to pull my friend back to the ear. Even so, Okuyasuo is still angry at his haste. Let the enemy have a chance to escape. You have to pay another day. The next day they went to the pier to meet Joseph. Just in case electric people can get into a drone or some flying device. So we split up into 2 groups. Yutaro and Okuyasu will meet you at sea soon. Yosuke and Koichi will stay at the port. This will be the first time Yosuke meets his father. I can't believe you to have to talk in such a complicated situation when there's so much to explain. In a constant stream of thoughts, the electric man's name appeared with his control coach, contrary to the vile form of the lotus. This guy seems to be an artist. He seems to be ready. Remix the CA Bolero track metal style, right where the main containers are. Yosuke didn't expect it either. There's a very complicated electrical wiring. Make the electric man fly like a flamingo's. In the face of unfathomable illusions, Yosuke tried to respond, but the punches just stick to the concrete. But that's your plan. With punches from crazy Kim Kang, Yosuke turns the asphalt back to a liquid state. From there to track the movement of the electrician, the trainer was pissed off. He uses all the electricity of the town. So, even if it's a duel, Yosuke's crazy diamond loses. So you came up with a plan. Yosuke tells the guitarist to break the tire, and then use the power to recover the object. Keep content in an isolated environment, but with the power already loaded. It's easy to puncture the tires, but he didn't expect puncture will make the tire. It's like a balloon. Fart like that and fly out to sea. Electricity meets salt water. A super good conductive environment. Electric people are disintegrating everywhere. The enemy has returned to heaven. Both of you were too subjective for him to have a chance to get the body on board. Where Joseph was battling with the Okuyasu, I received a message that the enemy had escaped. Koichi told the staff on board to Okuyasu in time before the trainer gets to it. Old man ship safely docked. Your father met again since you haven't formed yet. After putting the trainer in jail for murder, stealing Zotaro together, take back the bow and arrow you found at his house, and refer back to the Speedwagon organization for research. There's something about the two of you. Yosuke didn't want to call Joseph father, and you're not allowed to see your mother. Unless you're ready to go home. Maybe they're in a situation like you. It's difficult to decide. Until Yosuke had just taken his eyes off. I don't know what the old man heard. Get in the passenger car. They told Yosuke to run away. Now there's another strange thing happening. It's an invisible baby. Suddenly appeared on the sidewalk. So they both decided to take care of it. Before finding my mother. At that age, near the earth far from the sky, Joseph once again experienced the feeling of childcare. From buying diapers and clothes to fake ones. But one thing he forgot to buy was a toy. So it won't be long. The baby starts screaming and triggers its stand. It's not just the clothes it's wearing, that even trolleys or the things around them become invisible. Yosuke must be freaking out, looking for something that has no shape. Unfortunately, the cart crashed into the lake. Now, how do you find an invisible needle at the bottom of a tank? And right then and there, the father rises in Joseph. He cut off his hand so that the blood would flow into the water. From there, I discovered the baby. This made Yosuke start to have sympathy for the old man. This morning on the way home from school, Koichi met Hayamada, a guy, the boy named Puppet. Of course, after taking a blow from Yosuke, Hayamada has become a good boy. Through some social stories, both know that Kia people have a common interest in comics and a fan of Rowan Kaisaibe. Fortunately, Hayamada knows his house, so the two dwarf mushrooms went to stock idle. At first, I just thought about home. Who expected Rowan to invite? And always visit the place where I create. Things are getting weird. When Rowan started telling you about my inspiration for writing, about how one can draw 5 pages a week by locking myself in the house. That's it. To let out the pages of outstanding stories. It's full of inspiration. There's got to be a psychopath who's antisocial. A sage said, trainers will always find each other. Rowan owns a stand called Heaven's Gate. It's all over Roki and Hayamada. To be ripped apart like the pages of a book. Heaven is not a fight stand. It helps the owner to read people's names. Delivery time until grandmother's home address. Not only that, you can write some more conditions. I want to go in, such as Koichi's reply can't attack you. Or if Rohan wants, I'll go a few pages. And that memory, they disappear forever from the other person. So with that power, Rohan still lets young friends go. I don't remember anything about the clash. In addition, Waichi has been written more. Fruit of living habits is to visit Rohan's house oft. It's not because you're a lone wolf. It's because Rowan needs to experience her reality. To add to my story, as for Yosuke and Okuyasu, to people after seeing their friends often visit strangers' houses, also follow the investigation. But Rohan has it all figured out. Not just using her memories to examine the identities of both, but also write in her chi. Let him lie about his condition. But the two young men's noses are different from Hound's. They sniffed right out the anomaly and rushed to rescue his friend. With the advantage of knowing all of the enemy's scans, Rowan used drawing paper sheet. Make a shield before your hand touches you. Make both Okuyasu and Stan slip into a roll of paper. From there, he knew that Yosuke was hiding behind the door. They know the enemy is too difficult to deal with. Yosuke is thinking about running for help. Rowan called back with a bad hair spell. This reached the limits of Yosuke's tolerance. And that's the time Rowan uses his drawing paper. But no! Yosuke's mind has no room for comics. That's bullshit. He punched the artist in the face. Thousand thunder punches. It was a little old time. On a cold night, Yosuke developed a fever. That's when Taro's group went to fight Dior. Then you're sick. On her way to the hospital, his mother's car died in the snow. Surprise! There's a young man with a bird's nest head, and help them start the car. So that hairstyle becomes your style now. So whenever anyone denigrates you're going to pretend he doesn't respect your savior. Back to the story. Han was in the hospital for a month after being punched. This morning, Yosuke was invited by Yotaro to go hunting. These are the ones who have received the power of magic. One of them is a rat. Follow the traces. They finally found it at home. An old couple. They're taking it. Each other like a lump of frozen meat. After contact with the mouse, Yosuke saw it first, but he hesitated for fear of missing the shot. The mouse spotted the person behind. He fired a series of poisoned darts at Yosuke. Because he was afraid of getting dirty, he used a gun like my older brother. Yotaro in the next room curiously picked it up. So my hands flowed like a marinade. I am glad you have a real healer. Or goodbye to the hand, which means that two mice become stand. Not one. Two detectives continue following footprints until it stopped on a dirt road. According to Yotaro's speculation, maybe it went against the footprints to play out. And in a minute of silence, my keen senses told me Yotaro uses platinum to stop time and pull out the darts before the poison soaks into the blood. No, the enemy is hiding sniper. Yotaro shows up with Yosuke. He would now stand in the kitchen and Yosuke would sit and watch. Return peace to the field. And I have crows. Hi and see you later. Forget about the straight men. Rowan walked down the street to find Anchi this morning. I want you to learn something strange about Mario with me. That you've discovered. It's an alley. It's not on the map. This alley is uninhabited. The house is deserted, but there's dog shit in the middle of the road. You both go around. I realized I was lost in the matrix. So Ichi uses the stand to fly up to find Ra. But your response has an invisible wall right above. Sometimes a girl appears in the hallway. With the sensitivity of a manga author, Rowan immediately pulled Rostan to investigate this subject. I think I'll find out about the street. Who is this internal father looking at the measurement of 3 rounds? The first strawberry fall. The last time I let her tell her story was 15 years ago. There was a murder here. A weirdo came into the house and killed 3 people and a dog. And the girl in front of them. He was one of the victims. In other words, she's a ghost. Where they both enter is a hidden door in the toe, where the earth and hell meet. The reason you're still naked. Because the Kia killer is still out in town. And he's continuing to murder people. Grammy still hear the voices of souls flying in the sky, complaining about his tragic death. On the occasion of meeting like this, I want you to find the culprit and hold him accountable to the law. Koichi agreed immediately. Han on the outside doesn't care, but inside you want to get your hands on it. Then Remy instructs both ways to get out. It's in the alley. When entering, do not turn your head. Otherwise, the devil will capture your soul. That sounds easy, but when we get to the end of the road, then Ichi was fooled by Remy's voice. Makes you turn around and say goodbye. Right away, there's a line of 10 arms reaching out and pulling emergency you away. Situation. Rohan pulled his angel stand raw. It makes you forget what you just saw. Then pull Ichi out of the alley. That afternoon, Han asked the professor about the case 15 years ago, and coincidentally instead, you were at Remy's house at the time. Lucky years to survive because protected by you. We just met one. You pressed your benefactor Ra to blame the 3-round measurement. Good tie, good tie. She brought this story to Yosu Cho and Okuyasu. People decide. I will not tell you about Taro. Let me focus on the bow and it's still healing. Now 5 people. I'm not comfortable with the town I was born in. The killer. He's been involved in 10 cases that haven't been caught. Even the news is hidden. Take those thoughts to the convenience store. Rotaro was quickly distracted by something else. It's a little stand that steals Sue. When I saw it running away, Yosu chased me. On the road, he met Okuyasu, who was also chasing another one. And then row 10 and hundreds more came out of the streets. They seem to have stolen a large amount of money and running up the hill. And the guy who controls them is a nerd. This guy is Yang-u. It calls it stand the amount. When Yosuke and Okuyasu saw the stand, it's fun. He even expressed his desire to be friends with 2 thought people. Of a job. Give Yang-u a way to collect stacks of coupons around town. If anything breaks, the crazy Kim will recover. And so it goes on. It's called Economic Eve. But the money is so frivolous. When you have a few cents, you have a penny. There are 10 million in my hand. After receiving the money, give it to 2 friends. To pieces instead of half as expected. Because the kid thinks the gathering is all his work. And that's what Kia's idea is worth. If you see that, Okuyasu will show his face. But Josuke advised you to become a ma. Anyway, I got a hot pot today. So you guys thought of another mission. This time it's a throwaway lottery ticket. Maybe in the tickets. Some people are too busy to check results. I thought it was only in fairy tales. It appears in the anime. On Okuyasu's hand is the winning ticket for the 800 million jackpot. In front of such a large amount of money, Yang-u began to get greedy. He decided to use his little army to reclaim ownership. Check plate. Yang-u sends a bunch to bite Okuyasu. The rest fled with me later. When you see him using a stand to move, the 2 boys also learned Theo and used the cane to catch thought he was stupid but also mischievous. On the way home, he's leading a small band of soldiers to steal advantage of Yosuke and Okuyasu not to notice. Then inject alcohol directly into the level. The elves also collapse. In this country, Okuyasu lowered me to sorry. Otherwise, the lives of both may be difficult to keep. To see the elders kneeling at their feet, Yang-u starts to swagger. You directly swear Yosuke's name is useless. And that's why Okuyasu can use his hands to steal the lottery ticket. Money in your hand. Yosuke doesn't mind tearing it up right in front of Yang-u. Because only your crazy gold, we can restore it. As soon as Yang-u understood the problem, then immediately Yosuke let the scrap paper fly away in the wind. That, he's got to put all his energy in. Go pick it up at this time. There's nothing left. Protect you from to bloodthirsty young me. At home, if parents do not teach, let society teach them. But this guy is simple. It listens to morality. I also understand the problem and agreed to divide the amount of raw into Do you remember Yukaku? Girl with stand controls hair crazy. Because you will not. I stopped by a makeup shop today with the advertisement that customers after being taken care of, you will have the love of your life. She didn't hesitate to try the service. By the ghost owner Lisa. A person's fate can change. According to anthropology, so with a little bit of face editing, it can bring guests a lot of luck. If it doesn't work, Lisa willing to compensate customers. But you and I both know it's just a marketing story. And behind the magic hand there's content. Results after leaving the store. Ichi came to Zukaku in good faith. Then the 2 young people had a light date. Pouring ice cream French style. The medicine stopped working and made Ichi wake up. You're cooler than ice cream. Feeling unsatisfied, Zukaku to ask Lisa Ghost. Make love spells work to 4 out of 4. And you're ready to accept. They pay a high price in exchange for love. Wait, Melissa dragged Stan Raw into it. She asked Yukaku to close her eyes. But our girl, even though you're blinded by love, I know there's something unusual. Even so, Lisa's ghost is not evil, so you let her Stan finish the job. With powerful magic. This time, not only is Ichi attracted to his girlfriend, even had a kiss in the form of a monkey swinging bamboo wings. Of course, this god of love also has a limitation. It means that the user has to use a special lipstick once every 30 minutes. Otherwise, beauty will be destroyed. For being so absorbed in the melody of love, Zukaku didn't notice. And it's been so transformed that Ichi doesn't even realize it. She wept with a pathetic face to eat Lisa's ghost. Broke the ball in the shop. At this moment, Ichi appeared behind the door. You said, Zukaku, just be yourself. Even if there are animals, it's not cool. Don't change for others. Or at some point, you will hate yourself very much. Right then goes Lisa into the main issue. She gives Rao 10 faces for Yukaku to choose. One of them is her old face before touching the cutlery. If you choose Sayoko, you'll have to live with that. The same ugly face for the rest of his life. Contrary to the owner's expectations, Yoko didn't choose anything. She let Ichi choose for her. You just need someone you like. Every side is good. Towards Miss Ichi, you're under a love spell. So start talking like a male. You asked Lisa's ghost to blind you, because she knew Yoko wouldn't accept her ugly self. Then he took a mask and gave it to his girlfriend. In the midst of such a true love, Lisa withdrew her stand without making it difficult for Yoko. Happiness is enough. It's time for the town to know who's the villain. This is Yoshikage Kira. 33 years old, single, handsome and enthusiastic at work. Everything is fine, except for the you always carry a woman's hand and talk to her like she's a girlfriend. I will break up a hand when it starts to decompose and stink. It's about Kira putting her hand in a paper bag, and by chance, Yangnu passed by. You have the same bag of food because you're so busy talking. With Yosuke, he had the wrong bag. The woman's hand's in it. It's even got his fingerprints. So Kira followed Yangnu to the school. Wait until someone sends 3 kids out of the room. Physically, he took back the bag. Maybe it'll be okay if he doesn't see the kid at the school gates again. With cake bag on hand, Yangnu called to collect it and jerked it back, and the bag tore. To drop a hand that has dried blood. That's when Kiran knew she had to stand out. To eliminate this young witness, his stand has a name. The person in front of you is only close. Yangnu called out the gathering, clinging all over. Kira, he took advantage of the boy's innocence. Let the enemy kill a penny in his hand. Cho Yangnu suspected and used the amount to steal back. It is at this time that Kira reveals the power of the assassin. It's turning what it touches into a bomb. And my face was blown off, so that the eyes and nose start to mess up. The devil doesn't raw who doesn't look like Kira. Yongwoo is forced to reveal people with the same name as you. Or the next person to blow up is your parents right now. I realized this is the killer. I've been dealing with Raimi politics in the street. So you managed to get away and report to everyone, especially Chasuke. Someone who can heal you. It's hard. You just got to go to the other two's classrooms. But as soon as you touched the Yangwoo doorknob, I saw Kira's reflection behind me. You know right now that you're kind. And another one. This time close to the explosion. Cho Yang one no longer a flesh. Kira is not kidding. Before disappearing, Yangwoo can still use the power. Take a single collector. He stole the killer's shirt to give to 2 people. Yosuke. Message to everyone named in the town about the departure of Yangwoo. About both the story of Remy the Lane and the murderer. The button that I picked up. You leave it to Yotaro to investigate. The next afternoon, Yotaro went to the tailor shop to inquire. The owner of a shop recognized the hi. A guest just came to fix his shirt. But no one expected. The customer is still waiting in the store. As soon as the owner went to check on the customer, he was killed before his identity was revealed. It's also another ability of the ladder, allowing him to build a mobile bomb without the vigilance of Rotaro. Then Ichi blew up the body with Mike. This bomb looks like an armored car. It didn't go away after the explosion. Not only that, super hard. So much so that Rotaro's platinum is smacked. Ga also does not suck. While my 2 uncles were struggling with the tank, Kira slipped away with the purple jacket. Leave the battlefield for your control car. After a moment of observation, Rotaro has discovered the car bomb will go to the target, has the highest body temperature. Even so, I was still blown up by it. I just rely on that detail. You stand make out a heat ball hanging on top of the car bomb. It makes the car run endlessly. In the meantime, you call for backup and get Rotaro to safety. After the car spotted the target, it's not human. It continues to steer towards Ichi and Zotaro. After the explosion, Ms. Ichi's second daughter response has been affected. Not only uninjured, it's evolving to the next level is be a feedback. With super fast speed and the ability to control gravity. In one position, it caused the car bomb to sink deep into the ground. Who was drinking coffee, was also affected. I can't stand the weight on my hands. Count, go back to solving the problem. Koichi directly confronts Kira. Your stand, you can only put weight on one of them. car bomb or clothes behind. So no matter what you choose, you're going to get hit. Kira is a real cold-blooded guy, willing to torture the boy savagely and Koichi. While being kicked open, you still steal your opponent's wallet. To check the Yoshikage named Kira. The price to pay. It's a deep wound in my heart, and that much too. Time. It's enough for Yotaro to wake up and avenge his brother. In terms of platinum, Venus is number 1. That's also the last bit of Yotaro's power. The young man arrived in time before his teammates tightened their breath. Yosuke used his crazy strain Kim to heal them, and at the same time discovered the murderer Kira. Pterosaur tail. Kira cut off her own hand to free Cho. Stand swivel bomb. Make it hold people while he escapes. But Yosuke didn't fit either. You use your power to drive. Or in other words, the broken hand. Get it back to its former owner. And the killer. He grabbed someone on the street, with the same height, and take it to the Melissa beauty salon to change faces and fingerprints. When Yosuke's group arrived, the boss was dying. Yosuke can't save you, because Lisa's ghost was murdered and turned into a bomb. And so Kira had a new identity. Be more careful several times the next day. Yosuke's group goes to Kira's house to investigate. This guy's been smart since he was a introverted kid, and especially has a strange with his hands based on the speed of nail growth to calculate everything around you. But it's not that strange. The only one at Kira's house. It's a camera that takes pictures and prints them. The driver is Kira's father, a trainer who's biologically dead. He has not left the world, like you Raimi in the alley. He also has a stand. His stand allows him to manipulate an area of space that the camera captures. If the AI intends to tear up the photo, the consequences of his attack are unimaginable. The old man will do something in the picture after the camera is turned on. It will apply to the victim. That made Yosuke unable to attack or stop what he's throwing at you. But Rataro thought of the stick he hit on his back. I used the old photo. He's holding it straight to the camera, so it can take a picture of himself. Now the soul is trapped in the photograph. Just fold it up and the tape is sealed. That he won't be able to do it in difficult situations like this. How can the old man get out? Of course, it's thanks to the Okuyasu factor. After being tricked by the old ma, a psychological blow, you gave him a chance to escape. Not only that, but you stole my bow and arrow from my house. So Rod doesn't just have a god in Mario. And Kira, who's in a different role. A man who has a family. Today the husband came back and changed 180 degrees. Go to the kitchen to cook dinner for your wife. Then there's a series of other rewards. But that makes the wife stumble. Maybe her ex-husband's name was executed by Kira. Is an unattractive low life. At the same time, others are acting. You painter are zoning. Men of the same height. Rowan thinks that the family that Kiro is mixing into, they're also in danger. Thinking on the street. I was stopped by an Indian and asked to play in prison. Not a 2. This guy's been stalking Han all day just to pull the hammer. At first, Rowan was defeated, so Rowan used the divine Rowan was too tired to have fu. I lost and realized this wasn't just a game. That boy is a trainer. Its stand will rob the enemy of its power. When it won 3 games, after winning an Ohan round, it has some of the power of heaven. Let yourself be able to fix it. What Ohan wrote on his face. So Ohan must be solo. Go to jail with him to get back on his feet. The second game won lost. Now you have to win 3 games in a row. The rest sometimes. Joseph carried the invisible child through. Rowan used it to cheat on me. After losing, the child was psychotic. And then lose yourself. Stand up for Rowan. But the face is lost. He threw himself in the head of the car for shame. But Rowan risked his life to protect it. Because he looks like a main anime. Enthusiastic and stupid. After the match, Rowan reminded his mate, don't use a stand to do evil. Something strange is coming to Mario. Today, Yosuke and Okuyasu discover a ma. There's a pointed ear that claims to be an alien. At first they didn't believe it was a joke. But after seeing the way this guy transforms his body to escape from the sound of the fireman's sirens, then you believed. Then this alien wants to thank you. Yosuke thought of a pastime is to turn this asin into a dice. Then Yosuke took Theo to the artist Rowan to ask you to bet. From the first game, you won incredibly hard. I feel like there's a trick here. Rowan opens the big pull. You pierced your little finger. I don't know what to do. But use that as a reason to force Yosuke to stay. Play one more game. There is a good bet this time. Tamami, the guy with the conscience lock stand, also came by. Too good to be a judge. If Yosuke cheats, the lock stand will find out. And the script goes on. Rowan poured out a whole set of B4 and Yosuke Robbie A6. To Rohan's keen eye. I can't stand to see the beauty of a. And then 2 fire trucks came out of nowhere. Because Rohan's house was on fire because you put it on the fire table. Take this opportunity. Yosuke forbid follow you. The alien is sweating and running away. Before things get worse, Yosuke and alien parting ways on the street. After the alien had manipulated an ant, and think you're a boy? That's how he hid under the earth the next day. Yosuke and Rowan happened to be on the same bus. As we go through the tunnel, Rowan saw a room. It's the shadow of someone who looks like Kira. Of course, Yosuke didn't believe this, so Rowan took the car to investigate alone. If you go inside, there is a real room. But it's a trap. Or in other words, the trap of a stand that has created to detain and suck nutrition from Roha. When you see the car, you don't see Yosuke back in the tunnel, and saw the artist sitting still in the room. Rowan warns Yosuke about the SCA, and from now on have to run over 60 kilometers per hour if you don't want to be caught. It's like flying on the street. Yosuke just called Anchi for help, because you think the trainer must be lacking substance, so you need to get liposuction from someone else. While Yosuke races with unbeatable content, she will go to the hospital to find out the news about the man who had a motorcycle accident in the tunnel. Just in time for Yosuke to drive into the hospital. Here Yosuke meets the content control trainer, Suction Nutritio, and you've done a very human thing. Let this guy release Rowan raw. Then continue punching Cho in the hospital. And Kira, life at home seems happy with beautiful wife. Be good today. The wife found a cat with a hole in its neck in the basement. Kira knew right away it was the Fast 10 arrow bang. Until you come down to check. The cat was killed by a piece of glass. Actually, the wife stabbed him. Kira then carried the cat and buried it in her garden. A few days later from the ground, it's a flower with eyes and a mouth and a mind. Also, it can shoot out the transparent air bubbles. Super durable. I know this tree will help me one day. So Kira put it in a pot and put it in the attic. He did not expect that this afternoon, after he got home from school, he snuck up there and know the existence of the flower and having someone else taking over his father's identity. Let's put aside people's homes to see. Today, which trainer will Yosuke and Harden find in Morio? The guest today, living on a high-voltage power station, he made himself a model. Garden pond barn with full facilities, fishing in the river, vegetables grown on the ground, and watering plants with piss water. So his ability is, he's been living like this for 3 years. Or more precisely, 3 years have not set foot on the ground. What is the power of his stand? Yosuke knows this. When you try to get into the pole, after seeing the photo of Kira's father fall off, he's the one who gave this guy the power. That stand is an electric pole, but it can't be carried. But once you get in here, you can't get out. So if you attack the pole, it will return the same amount of damage. He said he just got on the line, out of the place where he lived for years. Because the pole always needs a prisoner inside. The alien friend has turned into a wire and push him back inside to open the exit for Yosuke and Okuyasu. And now you're the one trapped inside. Of course, Yosuke won't stand by and watch his friend in danger. You plunge into the pole. Use Kim Kang's power to drive the power cord apart. To swing upward, playing in a terrain that the opponent knows so well. Yosuke has many disadvantages, but with a quick mind, he quickly thought of a way to get back. If the power pole bounces off the other person's damage, cause it too. Crazy stretch needles can heal the damage. Or in other words, is to fire the bullets back to life. After being outplayed to white blood, the power pole started to confess. I was manipulated by the old man in the photo, and he said something about targeting her. He knows you. I'm in danger. They both rushed home to find her. But you've disappeared. That's why Yosuke went to the infirmary racer, because he has an extremely sensitive sense of smell. After a while, follow the nose of the clam. He also found the man who kidnapped her. Not only that, he also arrested Yosuke's mother. His stand locked others up. If you capture the fear of the prey, then put them on a piece of paper, apart from people then he can squeeze other things into paper. It's like a magic bag. Then he came out and told me about his stand. It's not very strong either. You can't hurt AI even if you tear a piece of paper in half. That's what the mouth is. But his hands were all thrown away. The paper containing her chi down the road. When you see your friend's life, prepare to lie flat under the tires. Sasuke was afraid. And that's really his plan. Let Yosuke fall into fear. That's the condition. Let him activate and steal your body. Someone else is in trouble too. Rowan, you called an architect today to fix your house. He never showed anyone his back. So Rohan's trying to trick you. Architecture fell into the hole. Now it appears that there is a stand on his back. It kills the subject if someone sees it. And then they're going to parasitize the person who's curious about it. With an introvert like Roha, there is no problem for the time being. Back to the paper folding name is being chased by your stand racing. To eradicate the aftermath, he set up a series of gifts of fear. From scorpion fire to electric shock. But it wasn't until he pulled out a paper cutter. Then he pulled out his pants when he saw Yosuke's paper. And she slipped inside. Just waiting for that. His stand pushes you to race against the paper. And he didn't expect it to be paper. That's when you race into the breaker. And pulled back the Kia raw. In the end, he was punched in the face. He even got his own name turned into a book forever on the shelves of the Morio library. After defeating the papermaker, Yosuke rescues his mother and friends back to Roha. When you can't take it anymore, you call your friends to help. Among them only Waichi willing to come in. Waichi just thought, the guy behind my back is another joke. So you left. The one who helped Rohan is now only Rotaro. So he moved from his house to Rotaro's hotel by pressing your back against the wall. When crossing the street, borrow the back of a pedestrian. Of course, after using the game of manipulation, they came to a street full of dogs and cats. Rohan doesn't know how to handle sound. Then suddenly Shichi appeared in danger. Get rid of the cats and dogs, and you stand to remove the parasite behind Oha. But it still doesn't work. Seems to have lost so much blood that Ohan lost consciousness. He stood in the middle of the road so that Ichi could see his back. Ohan had no intention of going to Rotaro's house. Where you're standing is Soul Alley. Anything that turns its head back here, they are drawn by the devil. So when I stand and I look at Ichi, he was dragged to hell. Solved content. Rowan gives his photo album to Raimi, and it looks like Raimi has found his new identity. Kira's name is the Old Horse. Tonight, he broke into the apartment to kill a couple, and then take his girlfriend's hand. Fortunately, the whole thing was returned by his son. When Kira found out, then he ran home in one circuit. So when I get back, he went into the bathroom and questioned his son. At this point, the words father don't matter anymore. When he heard a strange noise, his wife came in. She still doesn't know that. My son is in severe pain, and months have just flown. Kira is in a panic. He sought the help of his father. He advised him to leave To. But Kira chose, that's a cowardly act. Suddenly, the magic arrow entered Kira's hand. Give him one more power. I don't know what it is, but I woke up the next morning Hayato. The boy is still alive. And Kira, he's happily grooming, wearing a brand new tropical ice cream head, even though I know that he holds my secret. But he wasn't afraid. He even talked about it directly to his son. On the way to school today, he was caught by Rowan. You used your heaven to get information from him and confirmed that his father was Kira. But unfortunately, he had his bag on his son. Rowan, after touching the ball, exploded. The body has no meat. The explosion happened in front of Heitaro. He woke up like a nightmare and it was strange. It's not a dream. Because today, or in other words, it's rewinding from scratch, or GATO wakes up a guy. I'm going downstairs to have breakfast and go to school with my dad. Last night, Kira has received new powers that allow him to rewind time an hour ago. He put it on his son. Anyone with the intention investigate his identity through the boy, or Heitaro reveal the secret. The bomb will go off and everything will go back to the beginning. But it's not that simple. Everything that has happened will happen anyway, such as the water heater breaking, or Hetero's face becomes a book, even without Rowan. So the moment Rowan was bombed, of course it's still happening in a way only two fathers know. Heitaro runs to Rohan's car and shows great regret. At the right time, righteous young people also appeared. They saw Heitaro and realized that he was the object. Because I don't want to give color to another AI. So Heitaro dodged all questions. When you're pushed to the end, Heitaro thought of killing himself to defuse the bomb, but the police showed up and stopped it. See the enemy in front of you. People don't hesitate to move. And that's when the police detonate the investigative bomb. Boom, everything goes back to the beginning. After Hayato's 7-bar shout, what will you do to stop it? The deaths are pre-programmed. Then attack Kira. That's what Hayato thought. The boy secretly put the cat flowers in the attic in his backpack until you leave the house. Take advantage of when Kira doesn't notice. Hayato directed the flower toward Kira to fire the gas bullets. And unfortunately, that shot hit the clock. That Kira took off. After pouring tea on your hands, this morning it's getting more and more dead end. On Kira's side, he knew that the entire Rotaro group would die. I want to take the soul out of my son. To close the loop, it's like permanently deleting the Rotaro group. I thought it would end there. But Kira didn't expect him to have an out. Play yourself spectacular this morning at breakfast. It's out to call Rotaro. And don't mention Kira in order not to activate the dead. As should. The Rotaro team arrived before the event. Separately in double hand. Though, the Assassin Queen is not your opponent. But he stole back a secret weapon. It's the cat that shoots out air bubbles. When it's combined with the killer's bomb, it's invisible explosions. Yosu can't touch the healing, because Kira put another bomb on Okuyasu. Right now, the brave boy Hayato rushed himself to touch the Okuyasu, cause the bomb to detonate your body. Yosuke seizes the opportunity to restore the boy's body, and successfully healed Cho Okuyasu. Take advantage of the time when Kira is still plotting. 3 brothers dragged each other into people's homes. Until we get home, I saw my friend's cold body. You know that Okuyasu died before being healed by the Mad Kim King. Only the wounds heal. The soul returned to his brother. Yosuke decided to pay with this hatred. You're crazy gold. It can't heal itself. But blood leaving the body is still possible. They find each other, so Yosuke took advantage of that and fired a glass bullet. Then activate the power. He's got to find himself where the blood was shot on Kira's shirt. He knows his name. He's not strong. So I stood outside and dropped a bubble bomb inside. But why does he know exactly where Yosuke is? It's because of his father. The old man in the picture is in Hayato's pocket. Report the location. Yosuke hijacked the navigation phone. Kira drove the balloon straight towards his father and exploded. While he's celebrating the finale, Wrong target. Then continue. A bullet soaked in Yosuke lows blood towards him. Kira is down. Kira is desperate. Yosuke and Hayato walked out. When the opponent is out of cards, with all the stuff in my heart, Sasuke throws thousands of thunder punches. But right then and there, the cat flower inside turns on defense mode. Create the air balloon reduce Daincho Kira. Because he thinks he's in danger. Take the time. Kira pushes a bomb ball towards Yosuke. From another angle, Okuyasu wakes up and removes the bomb with his hands. You said you had a dream. See your brother again. I advise you this time. You should choose your own path. And Okuyasu chose Mario. That's how you get back in the game. At the same time, Rotaro, Koichi and Rowan also appeared, cornered in the same way. Kiro almost lay on her back, until a nurse came running to him. So he put death on you. And with just one press of the hand, everything goes back. An hour ago. But this is the last episode of Season 4. Yosuke's group decided not to let the enemy turn the tide. Ms. Ichi uses BA feedback to pull Kira's hands to the ground. And Teru's beard rushed to Platinum Venus to stop time, and broke the right hand of the retainer. Who will be the one to finish him off? It's an ambulance. Because the Kira were thrown at the timeout. So the driver didn't see him and backed up and bumped him over the head. According to the forensics report, the facial skin was pulled from the skull. Kira officially flies color. He met Raimi again in the Soul Lane. Here, she and her dog waited 15 years for revenge. Then he was captured by the devil of the lane. No one knows where the light has returned. Morio, everyone came to greet Raimi one last time before you go to heaven with your dog. Hayato, you go home. Where your mother still doesn't know that I'm not coming home tonight. Taro finally takes roses back to his wife. When the relationship between him and his son fell apart. Was fine. This is the end of the fourth beard. The gold is unbreakable and I'm broke. Hello and see you later. This video is brought to you by Rich Content. Editor Min Cho. And I still write. Video is best served at lunch. Dinner before going to bed. When you need something in the background. To work and study, away from the beautiful land of Fusan. Let me take you to a place that's equally romantic. It's also the home of the elected commentator, poetic Italian Golden Ball. This will be the first season. The main character is not from the Hoda family. You are Yono Dovana. Yono was the result of a one-night stand between Dior and a Japanese girl. Of course, Dior's life was a miracle. No one dared to ask for a monthly pension, and she's the mother of Yono. I soon returned to the night lights. His child trembled in hunger and fear. Then a few years later, she's remarried to an Italian father. It fills the stomach of both of you. He doesn't look like a father at all. Jono walked through his childhood isolated every day. Until one day, because of his selflessness, he saved the life of a gangster. He returned the favor by affecting everyone around you, from your father's friends to the neighborhood, to indirectly help you have an easier life. From their Dono Mafia idol, instead of CA doctors or soccer players. Growing up, Dono started with a two-finger job. After many small deals, you ran into her today. My friend in part 4. I have to admit that Dono has 10. But she didn't know that. So you've got your suitcase stolen right in front of you. I didn't know it had been turned into a frog. Before the frog jumps back to Yono meets Luca ship ceremony. He found out that Yono was active in his area. I took him to the park to ask him. Just as Luca was banging his shovel, Yono the frog comes back and takes the whole blow. It's not just not built, but the damage is bounced back on Luca's side. That's Kim King's first ability. Stand by Yono with the money he earned. Dono thanks himself at a pizza place on the street. Unfortunately, when you are in bad shape, you see the owner of the VA feedback. Koichi puts Yono's hand on the ground, but Yono used his lotus. Turn the brick below into a tree, and lift yourself up. When Koichi attacked the tree, all the damage is reversed. Make Yono cut off her tail. A friend from Japan. But the trouble with Luca is still there. Coca-Cola is the junior of a big brother. Kill with him. It's also disrespectful to him. On the way to the tribe, the slave was questioned by a subordinate. He is Bucciarati, a practitioner who is able to taste the sweat of others. And I wouldn't say Bucciarati. Body lace underwear. You can't buy it on Amazon for $42. The name of Bucciarati is zippers like the name. It allows him to create fake mare anywhere, even on your own. This forced Johnny to fight back. And you used the sutra on the Bucciarati. It makes Bucciarati's consciousness beyond the speed of the body, or simply to go to the scene. So the slow body of Bucciarati ate all of Yono's punch. I know I'm in trouble. Bucciarati creates zippers to open the exit, then get into the street to hide. Yono doesn't fit either. You've turned an opponent's tooth into a fly. Follow it back to the old owner. The young man hit the killer mosquito. Give it back to him, cause all the Bucciarati inside to come out. Oh, way back, Bucciarati decided to play dry blood. He took someone else's hand to help him. From that Kim Sutra, a chance to counterattack, and made a lot of zippers on you. Dono Dos tear arm from zippers. It's a long-range weapon, causing Bucciarati to suffer a dissociation of consciousness. But then you stand back, instead of finishing off the opponent. Because in a minute, Yono saw the color of the Bucciarati's face change when he saw that the boy's arm had a sting on it. Even if it's a gangster, but Bucciarati still has its limits. Dono also betrayed, talking about selling drugs for kids. Then Dono goes straight to the point. You're going to join the Bucciarati gang. That way, Yono will try to overthrow the boss and run Italy the way you want it. Punctured. Felt convinced of Yono's lofty dream, so he won't reveal your information. Not only that, Bucciarati also took Yono to the captain for an interview. Please enter the strange state. It's not a mansion or a mansion. Where the captain's hiding place is inside. In this place, he is not free, but he has everything he wants. You can still run your business outside of here. When I met the captain, Jono was given a trust test. It's keeping the fire on the tree. The lighter is lit for 24 hours. The first door, clinic babes. Yono was easily overcome by turning a lighter into a flower. Fortunately, the police officer is also a flower, so you don't keep it. The second accident, Kunz will must be difficult. Jono just got over Koichi to hide it on the lighter. The third accident, Uncle Lao just came down the stairs. Yono was tossed a bucket of water straight into her hand. The fire died out even though my uncle turned it back on. The cheating behavior was caught by the captain's content. He punishes his uncle with an ancient arrow. Sorry, old uncle. There is no reason to be a coach. Go home early with your grandparents. And Dono becomes the next target of content. The sunset due to the 5 prolonged Su. The shadow of Yono. Facilitate the captain's handstand. Show your strength. It can move quickly in the shade and attack the opponent's shadow. But it has a weakness, it's afraid of sunlight. Koichi when running down also becomes its object. So Yono said, give me a plan. To people will lure it into the shadow of an object, then move it away to isolate the content. Just as Yono was caught running past a tree. With the weight that echoes her BHE, content can't move. When the opponent is fixed, Jono used Kim Jing. Give life to the tree. Make it grow over a lifetime and decompose in a short time. That way they both beat the captain's stand. But it's a remote control stand. In other words, he's still alive. And I don't know. I just fought with AI. End of day. Jono brought the lighter to return it to the captai. I don't know if he can smell anything. I still have you and the ice. Though, Yono has not forgotten what he did to you. Cleaning up when the captain doesn't notice. Yono stand. Turn a gun in the room into a banana so that he can literally suck copper. 7 days of being a mafia. Day 1 murdered his captain check. Yono's mafia page consists of 10 groups. 610 people. A captain will manage several teams. Standing above the captain is the boss. Same number of trusted followers. To achieve the dream of overthrowing the boss, Yono needs Bucciarati and companions. And in the world of Yozo Mafia, instead of wearing black or plain clothes, I chose to dress like a fashion model. Even people who look at them know they are teachers. Or the jerks. I'm going to call this group Busaig. Set of yellow-headed elements. With abilities that will be revealed gradually. To welcome new members, everybody buy you a cup of tea. Diabetes. I smell the smell when I put it up my nose. But you're still upside down. OT to please the brothers. We are all 3 parts afraid of the 7 parts. They don't know that. You used your power to turn your teeth into jellyfish and absorb all the liquid in the cup. Jono's first mission with that group. They stole his property. Bad captain. This could be a chance for Bucciarati to be captain. And social empowerment for the boys on the team are fluttering on the waves suddenly. Nathan Zia disappears after being dragged into the boat. After we split up to find Mr. and Fugo too. Disappear without a breath. Bucciarati realized that there was an enemy on board, so I told him to investigate. The other 2 are not separated. And Jono, you've turned Narancha's shoe into a fly. Let it fly to find its owner. Determine Nathania and the other 2 are still alive. They're just hidden somewhere at the top of the boat. This is what Abessino is all about. Bucciarati ordered me to pull out my hand. But inside, this white-haired brother still doesn't have enough trust. Yono didn't want to show her strength to prove their loyalty. Yono turned herself into a prey to help the other 2 see how the enemy works. That recklessness made Abessino pull his stand raw. Let's talk a little bit about Abessino. Before I became the mafia, you've been an integrity police officer for 3 years. I started rolling around with green bills. I closed my eyes to the dirty stuff. This is the source for the sacrifice of one of your comrades. At that moment, Abessino completely collapsed. You start to neglect your hair until the Bucciarati pulled back to the team. Give me a new way. Go back to the present. Abessino pulled out his stand bearing the sad name. Can reproduce the actions of a subject in the past to see exactly what happened to Nathania. The result is the whole body, and Nathania's clothes were turned into rubber, and then dragged down the drain. Strangely, when Bucciarati opened the pipeline, I don't feel sad for trying to stand. The Abessino then gets dragged away like a balloon. I watch my kids get knocked down one by one. Bucciarati not. They don't lose their temper. But you're sequencing the information. Instead of looking around every corner. Bucciarati dried the boat so that the sea would overflow. Submerge the enemy in salt. The enemy uses stand. Put another boat on a yacht. And that's where he hid the bodies of the others. This is also the end of the boat puzzle. Because beyond the ability to surprise, Kia's black can't be paired with zippers. This guy's name is Mario, the gang he attacked. To get the captain's treasure positio, while the boat docked, the brothers thought of some fun to torture Mario. This is the proper behavior of the brothers. Society knows for sure that Mario. I've alerted an ambush at the pier. Jono volunteered to swim to the front, short to ambush. I felt that this new soldier had enthusiasm. Please come with me, because your name is perfect for assassination. When you get Yono took the radio to the port operator, masquerading as Mario to get his teammate Rod to answer the phone. Mr. was standing right next to the phone booth. I can't believe my friend is already in the room. The moment of Mr. passing through the window, Jono yelled loudly in the radio to hit the Mr. Get the signal in time. Mr. Bootstand named 6 chiseled her. Inside the revolver, that 6 bullet-shaped stands allow the bullet in the barrel. It's able to move in complex orbits. Make your partner eat a bullet in the leg, and was dragging to escape. When you see the enemy climbed into the car, Mr. ignored the alert, swinging with him. And this is the time we can find out about this gunner's past. Mr. is a simple guy. I think everyone has their own destiny. You eat with sleep. Until one day, I was walking down the street, Mr. saw a woman being assaulted in a car. Your body reacts immediately. Pull the man Kia Rapike. The result was a barrage of bullets from his men. At this point, Mr. began to become aware of her has the power to deflect bullets flying to my body. And that's when Mr. woke up. I'm 6 chiseled back to the current situation. The person Mr. is after is SEO. SEO has a 10. It allows him to fix the objects he touches. That's why the bullet didn't go through his brain. And also the drivers. I can't lift my leg off the galley. It's like a car flying on the road. And Mr. your arm. It's also attached to the wing of the car. Feel like I'm in the upper hand. Soul starts BAHOA about for everything. Example, how to develop yourself. By getting up early and reading books. So that when the Mr. reloads, you shot him out of the car. Even so, while he was loading, he dropped a few only bullets. 4 bullets left in the drive. 4 is 4 and 4 is associated with 6. The 6 chisels of Mr. are also numbered from 1 to 7. I missed number 4. This makes you start over King Thing. And it was at that moment the bad luck is back. By moving on the rocks in the air. This time, he kept tapping on the bullet to accumulate kinetic energy. Then release it and make it shoot like a goo. Make a gunner like Mr. take a bullet in a Mr. O in with one last pill. But still can't penetrate his organs. But that's just the next step. East Germany Mr. sends 6 brothers 6 chisels approaching Soul's bullet and kick it upside down. When he releases kinetic energy, when CEOs think they can stop the bullet, then suddenly it splits in 2 pieces, flying straight into the bullet hole on the and shove the old bullet through his skull. That's how Mr. won this duel. OT long the team docked and gave first aid to Mr. and met Pericolo, one of the captains. After talking to you, then Ra Pucciarati kept the jewels to give back to the organization in order to gain credibility and eligible to be promoted to the position. Captain Pucciarati will take Paul Poe's place. The captain was killed by Yono, and he still has something unfinished. Is to escort her daughter back to the boss. She's the girl who's been following you since you were born. I've never met my dad. I only know about the recent months. News of the boss's daughter began to be transmitted by land. You need someone to protect your blood. Before reaching the boss, the gang stopped at one vacation home to buy necessary supplies. The person who is out shopping is Naruto. The sale looks good. Until you get back to your room, Nathan Zia was touched for Maria, member of another gang in the organization. Both quickly turn on VA mode touch and pull stand of Naruto. It's a fighter jet. You're shooting like crazy and the guy in the car. When the 7-year-old is out, open the door. Strangely enough, there was no trace of him. The reason is for Mario. I have a small body thanks to my stand. Then he slipped into Nathania's shirt to hide. But that's not his only ability. Mario's boy has the ability to shrink his opponent. I know I need to get down now. Athania runs straight to the public phone booth to call for support. Now for Maria. You have to speak up to buy more time. Via Koji Kanhin ba LSVA Maranjalai G the Rocky TO. Vagime Bay G Han Quite. Valkuk Gigfat and Gan Trio Sui. For Mario GBN Sabit by Trong Te. Either Nachbin than GV Dong Luk GT Low Exo. Jupin than Binside GG. Divin Hang VVI Tin Si Yong Athania GNTTM Raw for Maria. DN Kotron Y6 Zuch Now Sai Chang Kifi Kuijun MGI Fat High and Raw Ton Dio High Fiji Zak Hun Kon Quan 9 V Naruto. Ko MT Sheik Radar. Hun Via Nung Ji Tung Zung Quan Mei Bei. Trong Hang Ten Kon Chuchi DG. Ko MT Kon the MD and H. Ko Chi Chin La Kon Ma Hen Hang CCI. For Mario Bajia J. Hen Vi Turk Lay Kitch Thuk Ban HU. Vien Lay LSE Nana Thania G. Bahoan NHT and 5CC A Junkuk Now Mei Bei LPP Gefsi A Naruto. Hen Chong Chian Sang Shuk Jichi Kuitron LS. Hn Chung the Now Tho Ki Teen TM MTCA for Mario. DG I Muajai. Junkuk Now MT Kon Baby and DM Cho BPD Hen Net Naruto. Thou MT I 3 Tin Cho CU Solo VVI Nana. H Hava Man Troi LCC Q Spider Maford Mario G King GY Via M Chen Hang Hung C A N RH Ki Code to TBNUN Tiki Han Non Roth the Lay Hen the G Beng Che. Bit GGC Jitha SN Co the Trun Sai CCN Thun JT Chasey D for GK the King Con Huang Machiko Huang Via VVI and GGC Zak Via Non Naruto Bo Cho C G Via Tunha Pucciarati Non GGC Tin Hen Troc Tip T Ang Tram Bounty CCT Ju Cha Ko the Ma SN Dung Jithap Tung Si Con Dung Via Jindal Va the A GGC Jaunium Vien Tri Tin TM Shi Chako Yono Yaima CB8 Teachin La MT Kuna
Cash
Bien
Ko
Huang
Kang
Chavia
Sha.
MGI J Chentitha Fugo G Baton Line
Luzo
SBI
Gautron
the GGG
Yaima
and Batach Byte VVI to
YK
MGI the Huba LSD
The New
Fugo Gi Tun Ca Mchen La Koi Tim Ra Zut Hien Y the GG
The
Lam
Lam
Cash
G
Fugo Ko the Chin Thing Y Len USC AK Chak Ki GC
Jungta
and
Ju.
GGC GG Thu M Teach at
Yay
VTU
Team
SBC
SBC
SNMBCC LS La
Aging
and
Psychum
TGA
VVI
Trong
Mong
Su
Kwang
Num
Sa
Sai
Cha.
Gi Ma Ku Hanging Ma Fugo Fi Can Ko MT and Gay CU Bajao
Trong
SPY
Xa
Hen
HI.
Yang Ko Ji Thou Zik Cho Con Ku Trong
CU
Racho Di Sao Ko GGC
The
BN
Fugo Kung
MD
Ba
HHT Sao MT Lane Tai Lan Y
CUG
Quine Revau Tin TM MTC A
K Kung
Bucharati
Lothan
VN
GGC
GGC Mommy Chun Vaugan CA
Turk
Turkley VVI
Fugo
Fugo Gi Ratan Nazut Hien Y Beningoi CCC MD and CA
GGC
Nala
Gigi
Ki
Fong
GC
Ki.
Koi Tim GMP Hein Vien Tran Bante BFTK Kjuk Ko
Chasian
La
and
AI
Tip
ZFC
SN
VV Island
Fappen
Bachutragi
Kine.
Trong 30
Kola
Guy LS Du Fugo Arch T It Ginora
Vien
Koi GCSN King Fan by
Chinkin
GGC
Koi Tim
GM
Eben
Leon
Bada.
Lo Abasino Quite Hun Reside Teen TM Sheik Chako Konyono Lay MT Muk Y Laji Teen TM Cash
Y
Dukan
Vintron
G
and
Yuso Ki Engthi Ting BGC
The
Chan
Bien
Shi Fugo G Gugi Theo Bien Hin Chorang Kolog Gi Chi Lai Sheik Chako Kwa 9 Hin GBT GGC
Lane Nahin
Abasino
Kio Theo MT Mir.
GGCA Abasino over Content Vow the GG Kind Abasino over Stend who beat Ek
Tamo
and VN Mchen
Abasino
Mahong
T
Chat GT Bante Sauko HIO Kian Nabe Hin Chayono But the law MT Lane I Luxuo BN Decon MGG Chi Theo Sheik Chako
Con Yono.
CU Diab Dang Bahen Live Outrong
Hing Lane Na Ji Mang Theo MT Mon
Shin
Kwa.
Iraq CA Koitem G Bo Tonton
I
MAN
Luxuo
Fi Chat GT Finte Din GC
The Kiesi the Raw and Goi the GG
Yaima
Thought.
King Con AI
Chikon
Lay the Nui Heim Koitim G DN Huang Cho Fugo SB Dong Stands
Jono G
Setup SNAN MT Con Ranban Rot
YSN Lang Theo
the Night CA Ilso
Koi Tim.
Kind CC the CA Hen Bafan Hai Trong
Vicon Kai
Kai
TC.
GC CA
Kaikon
Ranma CU to Ra TV and GGA Y Bong
Wyson
GC
Raji
Komine Venan Mao CA Na Ko the GGC Dung Lam Fan Mian and Tone Mang Sheik Chako
Abasino
GGC Bucharati Nataben Ko Akio Terchak Kisai TV a Trijate May Bay MGI GSND Chine Ben Z Lay T Wavy and Y Coco MT Con Sheik Chako Alan Ling Na The turtle's power will draw us inside. That's how we all move. Safe to roam. On board, the CA of a junior in another gang was there to steal back the boss's daughter. The boy's name is a fishing pole. And he couldn't find the group. So he dropped his name, cause the whole train to age. But there's a strange thing. Mixed distillery. And Chris is aging slower than the rest of us. The reason is because the enemy categorizes its target based on body temperature. Chris is a woman who should have a higher body temperature than men. And Pusharati do just drank ice water. So the CA wants to keep Chris alive. 2 out conditions with the boss. So Mr. must suck Theo, the remaining ice in the fridge, to go out and solve the problem with the person. When all the silver dragon teeth coincide, Mr. Go to the control room. Turn on the air conditioning switch to keep it cool. Then stick it right to the junior's hook. It doesn't just pull you away, but the hook is twisting in its internal organs. All the damage to the wire. They are betrayed by their prey. So Mr. had to ask the brothers 6 chisels. I am looking for the owner of the Mr. Shoot miscellaneous. It's aimed directly at a low-temperature location, knowing that it must be the enemy's place. The coconut tree's head was shot for flying a finger, but my mouth is still closed. Enough time to pull the big-name CA, who's been playing the wrinkled tourist, touch directly on the hands of Mr. to make you age immediately. I can no longer hold my gun. After Mr. fell down, he gave you 3 bullets straight into your mind. That's the style of a mafia. 2 back in the cockpit, and discovered animal feces. So they're looking for little passengers instead of people, and found the turtle first. When it comes to the next event, then a miracle happened to the group's gunner. In a moment near the sky, 6 chisels years saved Mr.'s life. Stop all 3 bullets at once. With a little breath, finally Mr. sent Sten to tell everyone. Receive the news. Pusharati once again had to carry the whole team on his shoulders. Because of the critical situation tore across the top, I pushed myself and the guy out. It helps the whole team, as well as passengers returning to The script is beautiful, but it's unlikely. The head of the coconut needs to hook his hand to save the lives of both men. Seeing Bucharati clinging to his feet is confident. Blow aging, but he didn't expect it. What Bucharati is targeting is not him. It's the fishing line. That is, his hands were separated by the power of the zipper. With intense vigor, he managed to get to the bottom of the bridge in time. But a touch left one arm and leg crushed. However, he did not republish the content and the junior's name. This time, he was determined to defeat the Bucharati. While the hook is still on you, Bucharati also showed his determination. You put zippers on yourself. Small part of the body into many parts. To get rid of the hook tongue. Even split the heart so that it doesn't beat. Bucharati almost squeezed herself. If not the first coconut, it was too soon for the train to stop. That folding break that helped the body parts of the Bucharati come together. Bucharati back with a rematch. And take back a second network for yourself. He killed 2 assassins. The lives of the crew and Chris are guaranteed. The group of assassins still has 3 members. They decided not to let the smell slip away. This guy's name is Meloni. He's more bizarre than the last ones. Meloni after obtaining a blood sample of Bucciati. It was taken for analysis. And then find a girl on board. What is his stand capable of? It's called a laying machine. You can make a baby out of two people's blood. The most important, if the individual is selected, there are characteristics that conflict with the couple. Then you can become much stronger. Meloni taught this child, AI is you and AI is the target it needs to destroy. When Gucci's team is stealing a car, to avoid being tracked, the boy approached and got in. The turtle from went to talk more about it. Boy, the ability to turn people into small pieces, then turn them into objects. It can even do that to its own body. That causes attacks. It becomes too easy to avoid. You see the power of the enemy as opposed to your job is to turn objects into creatures. It's about turning things into objects. So Jono learned, get a new trick. As soon as the boy breaks his arm, Jono turned himself into a predatory fish. It's messing up its digestive tract. Johnny is not the only one growing up in battle, and so is the stand boy. It sucked back Johnny's hand when you pulled it back. The boy doesn't know that. What Jono gets is not his hand. It's a motorcycle. The boy saw that. He quickly splits his body into pieces, but he didn't know there was gas in the motorcycle and just a little electric spark. It's enough to turn him into a ghost rider. After the small stand was destroyed, Bucciati and Chris back to the status quo. The name Meloni showcase turn part of the baby stand into a snake. Make it go back to its owner and finish him off with animal instincts. Before he broke up family planning, the boss's last order, recorded 14 hours ago, inside the turtle. So there's only the Appuccino stand. You can hear the message. He sent it. The image of a statue. The whole team needs to get a CD, which will provide the final location. Immediately after transmission, the captain burned the photo himself, as well as taking his own life. To make sure there won't be an AI outside of the Bucciati group. No, the destination this time is the poetic Venice. There's only one way into the city. A 3.5 kilometers long bridge to avoid risk. Jono and Mr. will come first to make way. It's as if they both met the next killer. He's able to lower the ambient temperature below absolute level. He was surrounded by a thick layer of ice. Can be bulletproof. The temperature is dropping more and more. It's not just the bodies of both. The brake pedal is frozen. To break the mystery, Jono turned the bullet that Mr. shot out into a tree root to push the princess. Elsa gets off the chariot, but that didn't make him give up. Elsa equipped with full armor, riding a snowshoe chasing. I know I can't puncture the enemy's armor, Mr. Give the brothers 6 chisels. Put bullets in the blades of skates. It made Elsa fall apart, but I can't turn gone yet. The assassin created an airstrip. It's caused by water coming out of the car to swing by. Since Mr. found out, Elsa appeared from behind and freeze your arm holding your goo. Jono, when he saw that he was nearing Venice, he drove straight down the canal with the intention of melting the ice. And that's the wrong move, because now I can swim to the shore with a guy who can freeze water. Jono turned the steering wheel into an ivy to climb to the shore, but the ambient temperature is too low. This makes the tree unable to grow. And Mr. You can put them into a plank. Can glide on the ice. So Elsa reverses the cooling process, cause the Mr. to fall to the water, and then create a runway. Tied him up, Mr. held up the goo. Shoot at the grass that Jono made out of car parts. Make it pin straight to Elsa's helmet. Then pile damage to create a chisel. Instead of running to the shore, grab the dog's mustard plate. Swim back into the water to eradicate the root. Results, rebuked by opponents with icy walls. Situation reversed. Elsa found the CD first, even if you are covered in injuries. But when you think of the heartbreak, Bucciati believed the Mr. gets more drunk. He was so drunk that he shot blood on the glass. Elsa's insurance caused him to lose his sight temporarily and get noticed by the bullets. Fall back on the sharp iron-looking one. So Elsa was able to bleed in time, form a solid fulcrum. When the Mr. is white, it was time for Johnny to step ashore. Call out the Diamond Sutra to stab the princess's throat. After the battle, Dono heal my friend by turning bullets into organs. Hurt always when the dawn comes. The others landed safely. Inside the announcement boss CD, the last place was where the boss took his daughter. It's on an island. He'll be waiting at the top of a bell tower. The only way up there is an elevator, and the only one who escorted Chris up. Of course, that guard can't carry a gun or a phone. According to outsiders, the rest of you have to stay on the boat. Don't go ashore. Bucciati will be the one to hand over Chris to the boss. Before coming ashore, Ronaldo gives the captain a badge. Was transmitted by Vitality. This is a separate plan for both of you to track down the boss. The captain led his daughter into the bell tower. There is absolutely no one inside. The shadow of man is now reunited with the father. Chris suddenly looked scared, because so many things suddenly come to you. From being hunted by gangsters, to be delivered to a father that you never knew. When the elevator doors are about to open, then suddenly Chris evaporated. There's only one hand left with fresh blood. Bucciati was astounded. I think it was the boss who killed his daughter. We are now flashback. The childhood of the last. In gang Bucciati. I had a quiet childhood by the waves. Until your mother wants to start a business. She divorced her husband and went out to find her body. Bucciati stays at Sea Village with dad, living a peaceful life. That is until in one trip taking tourists on tour, you've been killed by seeing the drug trade between them. Lucky to survive the crisis, but criminals still come to the house. And that's when Bucciati first learned the smell of blood. To know that, they won't stop sending people to take revenge. Bucciati has joined the mafia in exchange for safety for your family. The day I found out, his boss also trades the drugs that drove your family to tragedy. The determination to overthrow the boss has begun to rekindle. I saw him kill his daughter. Pusharati can't hide his anger. You chase the tracks, and can see he's holding his daughter in the basement. Here Bucciarati openly confronts the boss. To protect the girl, with JoJo, you're constantly told where the bug is. But there's been an anomaly in the way the boss moves. After just a blink of an eye, he showed it behind the Bucciarati. Give me a donation. His name is King Chu. It's the ability to enter a private space where all the enemy's movements are foreseen, and he could use that advantage to dodge all the Pi attacks. Then he suddenly reappears behind his opponent, and for the people around, they just feel like time has been cut off. Or to put it more simply, King Chu's ability is the time team. Before he could reach out to his daughter, then the badge suddenly turns back into a turtle and sucked him to stand inside. Bucciarati just takes advantage of their precious time. Take the stress as far as possible. As soon as Yono came by, Pusharati's pulse is off, but strangely, the zipper should still be saved. Not long after, the whole team came in. The boss had to give in. Let's get Chris out. To the outside, Pusharati announces she protect Chris, and as a traitor, the boss as well as the organization. If anyone wants Theo, get on the boat. Grab it yourself. In the end, it's only Fugo that decides. Maybe this is how authors deal with content. Like purple smoke. Bucciarati that. The gang's eyes and ears are everywhere. So, staying in Venice would be better than leaving by sea. The entire team is now on maximum alert, so don't be foolish to send a spanking glance. If not, the result will be a hospital bill in your mouth. The next two assassins are in Venice. One of them has a remote control stand. It's like a predatory fish. It can move freely between objects that contain water. The other can get into someone else's mouth and make their mouths talk. The opposite of what they really think, even if you see the enemy, but your mouth can't reveal raw. Yono was the first. Realize the unusual points of Naruto, but it ended up being stabbed by a silver scrub. Give a blow to the neck. When Nathania shot back the fish, it immediately plummets into a pool of blood. The bullets hit Yono. Athania screamed that it escaped. The fish's handler was reassured and let the fish and Yono stay in the sewer. But they forgot one thing, that Nathania is still affected. Stand back. So Nathania has a response. Proper dono. For a short time, I told Nathania not to chase. Handstand. Look for two handlers in the middle of a sea of people. Find the two assassins. You cut your own tongue to remove voiceless content, and Yono's bug instead. The goal is to make them breathe out of fear. It helps you find out in the crowd. Talk about fighting at close range, especially in a place where there's no cradle water like this. The 2 Kia stand was almost no damage. They have suffered a tragic end in front of Nathania's fighters. After this birth and death, Athania's trust in Yono goes up. Multiple rush times. The team will go to the airport to move in the air. The plan now is to investigate the boss's background. The destination will be Sadia Island. Before the plane takes off, there's an ape coming straight to the plane. Despite his warnings, he did not waver. So Naranja fed him a bag of marshmallows. Make that fat guy stand and vanish in a wasteful way. I checked and made sure he was back. Don't worry, everyone but they don't away. Realize what? Dad, that's the condition for him to activate his stand. It's parasitized on Yono's hands. When you check his pulse, this stand is in the shape of a pile of meat. Always follow the fastest moving person. Bombs can't destroy it. To cut off the tail stand, Yono sacrificed both of his arms to throw it out the window. But even at the speed of the plane, it's still chasing and getting inside. Chris was alone in the passenger compartment to protect Yono's recovering arm. Chris risked his life to get it by making a lot of movement in the chair. Turn your back to distract, but in the end it caught Chris. At this important moment, Chris's stand appeared. It's capable of softening things. It makes them more durable. Rubber Two Sisters are thinking out game. Turn the watch into a toy and take advantage of when the meat is drunk. Chris stabbed it to pieces. Who thought it wasn't dead? He even tried to swallow the plane. Instead of walking slowly, Chris chose to run fast into the cockpit, then cut off the front of the plane with your stand. The back part falls straight down by gravity. Make me stand endlessly. The top is plasticized like an umbrella. This meat can't die. It's always chasing the waves. From then on, people go to sea or gossip about a sea monster sinking a boat. Let's talk a little bit about Chris's past. Her mother is a criminal, 15 for assault and bank robbery. On a stormy night, her belly suddenly swelled and she was in pain about to give birth. Although this is a solitary confinement, both prisoners are women. Chris was the baby that was born that night. As soon as she was born, she didn't cry. Instead, she urges viewers to subscribe to the channel. 2 reviewer hours quickly reach 1 million. It temporarily stops there. The movie leads us to a boy. He also has pink hair. This boy looks good too. But who knows? He used to be a pregnant Terminator. They burned down their entire village. He's a Doppio. Another personality of the boss. The Doppios are coming to this island to get rid of it. The last of the Cristo assassins. He was the last of the group. As soon as you meet Doppio, he noticed every little detail. Even if you have a weak, fearful appearance, Chris can still find out. Doppio can stand like that. It wasn't enough for the assassin to start a war. His name is capable of manipulating even in the blood. from a Doppio's mouth constantly throwing up 10 blades. The blue is
Not
sharp.
only that, when I saw Doppio low on my side,
Discoto guessed right raw stand of Doppio belonging.
hit close again.
So he took the initiative to get away looking for an opportunity
Impotent
to attack.
and panicked.
Doppio calls the boss with a frog. He lets you use some power. Stand Ju King. Let the Doppio see the future. In 10 seconds. That's why you guessed the power of invisibility and use that to amputate one of his feet. With taking iron from the blood, Christou has resumed legs. Now he can be sure of the person in front of him, who 10 minutes ago was scared and shy. It's changed 180 degrees. Become a formidable opponent, no other Doppio is the boss. When Christou was playing up card with all his might, his power doesn't stop there. The amount of iron taken out of the Doppio's blood carries oxygen. So now the green honey Doppio is throwing up. Strangely, the more iron you lose, the more you think of a way to guess the opponent's direction. That's when he pulled the iron out of Doppio will use a knife to make a compass. But this time Risato was one step ahead. Where Doppio comes is just his left foot. The heart almost died. If there is no 8th inches fighter plane flew I. He kept shooting at Risu. Doppio loses too much iron. Your body can barely breathe. It's not detected by the radar below when an enemy is destroyed. Pushirati with Naruto. We will go to the top of the mountain to check. And Abasino's going to use a rewinding oil tank 15 years ago. Let's see what happened on this beach. To the right time. It's going to take the shape of a boss. The boss's second personality. Doppio, after excess living missing dead with Christou, had to eat frogs to replenish iron for the body. There is someone even more ominous in front of you. That's Abasino, who's replaying his memories for a minute. The shadow of Doppio passed over him in that football outfit he took from a kid. And the wind is passing, has left a big hole in Tim Abasino. Finally, I was also reunited with my old partner at the 9 Springs. Even so, before leaving, I was able to carve the boss's face, a stone slab. Pushirati after getting facial photo. Search the entire system, find both dead and alive on paper, but still can't find the boss's identity. Suddenly right now, there was a voice on the computer. The guy over there said he wanted to take down the boss too. He also knew a boss named Diavolo, as well as the power of King Juice to gain more trust. This guy showed me an image of an ancient arrow, said it was the key to taking down Diavolo. If people trust him, come to Rome to meet in person. Because there aren't many people outside the Bucciarati group know about the power of King Ju. So the team decided to put their trust in strangers. On the way, strangers keep talking about the ancient arrow. This is an old thing. Make raw out of the asteroid. On it contains a Type 6 withdrawal. Natural selection. Only a few survive and are empowered. That's the origin of the stand. This person said, there's a way to use arrows to evolve. Lotus gives it superior power, enough to defeat King Ju of Diavolo. When I go back to the night, it was also the time when the boat landed and couldn't wait long. The boss arranged for a pair of trainers to receive them. The white man used to be a doctor. He deliberately diagnosed people with the disease. There's an excuse for surgery, and then dissect and torture them. It's good to get the victim's face in despair. After being discharged by SA Hospital, he was recruited by the mafia. The guy next to him was his former patient's assistant. Some people call this duo the devil because of their barbarity. Back to the present. Istur and Naruto. They were the first two people involved. Their hands and feet are covered in mold. When moving down to a lower position, even putting your hands down your pants is affected. This is the power of 6 T's. After discovering that, even if there's no earthquake, we have to go up. Pushirati wants to stay away. I had trouble seeing people around me die. Instead of meeting the trainer, I want to go straight to Rome. So Pushirati went with Miss Me to get a car. While walking up the stairs, suddenly an invisible landslide The altitude of both is decreasing. There is another stand, moving inside the concrete. It's like playing in a pool of water. Fortunately, they both stuck to a sign to cut off the tail. Content diver. The Bucciarati split apart and he jumped to the bottom. Make the diver stick his face out. Resistant combo from zippers. This helps Mr. start the car and pick up Bucciarati. Though, there's one thing that neither Johnny nor Mr. understands, is why the Bucciarati's body doesn't get mold. Yono felt something was wrong with the captain, so you check the pulse. The body of a Bucciarati is like a dead body. There's no pulse and it's freezing from head to toe. I remember when I was in Vnish. Bucciarati after the encounter with the boss died. According to Bucciarati, biologically, you're supposed to be on a counting board. But there's a wig. I haven't been pushed back to the stone. It depends on which day you live. Bucciarati patch. Ask Jono to keep this private. With the rest of us, drive near the city center. The 2 assassins chased him with a helicopter. The doctor who spread the virus all over Rome. It seems his goal is not to stop at the Pucciarati. It's also a sick desire. I want to blow up the city. The diver was dropped to hold his feet. Jono deal with Bucciarati. This time you and Mr. will stop the helicopter before it gets to the arena and hurt the messenger, and Bucciarati will deal with divers. Jono of Mr. was upstairs. When the helicopter is held up by Leo's with long-range advantage, Mr. fired a barrage of bullets at him. I don't know what happened, but 5 out of 6 bullets were fired. On the contrary, there are tablets even if you lose your head. The last one was lucky to escape. Otherwise, their owner's life is difficult to keep. To this country, Johnny had to climb up to save his brothers. 6 chiseled answers to questions about how the doctor could hide out of sight of bullets. It turns out that he separated the raw parts thanks to my experiments in medicine. The mold will keep them from bleeding. By surprise, Yono was kicked out. While you're falling from above, 6 chiseled. The number of years flew by. And kick a bullet through the palm of his hand. Yono infused the power and turned it into a branch. Help me get to the helicopter. Because a tree's branches are also a living thing. So the doctor just tilted the plane a little bit. Is that it's going to get mold? Make the middle entry. Make Yono fall again into the deep hole. Death watching the prey slowly fall to death. The doctor did not realize that. The tree he just killed. When you lose your life, you will return to the bullet, even though the mold has been removed. But Dono still be careful with the opponent to make sure. You turn the bullet that's in the enemy's head, grow into a bug, destroying his perverted brain, when the prey smells of fear. Sono officially ended with the remaining 30 young shots. Assistant name. I thought after I found out that my owner was dead, he will lose his fighting spirit. Who thought that would get the dog off the leash? He's become resourceful and agile in an unexpected way. There's no other way. Only knows how to constantly unlock, pull under the ground, and run competitions with divers. After using a lot of tricks, Bucciarati managed to get to the arena gate. Is it the official burial tissue for you? Decided to hide in the enemy's territory. This time I had an out of play. Wait until the diver comes. His fists blew his tires, tearing his eardrums apart. And Bucciarati. There's no damage to make a body that can hurt more. Two borer. Diver pulls a young man by the side of the road. The hostage is supposed to break. Doppio, the second personality of Diavolo. Bucciarati calmed down. Step forward and unlock the hostage's belly. It's the ultimate self-esteem of the diver. Not knowing where to hide his face, he got into the garbage truck. I didn't expect that. You saved the life of someone who wanted to kill you. Doppios don't want to kill their prey. He wants to find the mystery. Own the arrow. So Doppio proposed tomorrow. Want to help Bucciarati to the arena. Towards Bucciarati, you're no different than the Galaxy White. If the camera is dim, the screen will be scratched for 2 minutes. Is out of battery. Now Bucciarati only feels the soul. So I mistook Doppio for Chris. They both have the same soul. Your father then let the Doppio lead you into the arena, where you met the owner of the arrow. He's Ponavep, who took down Dior with Rotaro. In the third part, Ponaris has ever met Diavolo, but last year, and the result is a disabled person. Oh, more and a lot less Doppio. To see the ancient arrow, he immediately shifted his priority target to the lame Mr. Bonaris. Face the old enemy Diavolo. I figured out how to use the drops of my blood to figure out how many seconds Diavolo skipped, from which to guess the distance and location. He jumped out of the sky. But that's tried. Just a little bit of Diavolo. After knowing the timing of the prey, Diavolo continues to activate King. This time he splashed blood on the phoner's eyes. That moment, Polarep just thought of doing so to protect the arrow, so he stabbed it into his silver sword stand. This makes your stand evolve. It's going past Diavolo, taking back the arrow from when he doesn't even know that. It makes people around, from Diavolo to Bucciarati's group. Everybody's falling asleep. After waking up, something unprecedented has happened. The souls of the members are swapped together, Mr. It's in Chris's body, and vice versa. The second pair to be swapped is Jono and Naruto. On the street, things are getting a lot more chaotic. Is police swapping with criminals? Then you change places for birds, dogs, and cats. Ponaris are also victims of carcasses exchanged with his animals. Soul was flown to the group's turtle. Ponaris tell people about the plow. Use the arrow to strengthen the stand. But because of the sudden appearance of Diavolo, I stuck it in my stand. Now that stand has its own consciousness, not under your control anymore. If people want to go back to their bodies, find and stop the silver. Even though the body can change, each person's stand remains the same. There's something more important. That is, Bucciarati and Diavolo swapped bodies together. Bucciarati quickly grasped the situation. Plunge into the silver bridge. The bad soul takes back the arrow, but in some virtual Canadian way. Your own stand is the zipper against the traitor, and so do the rest. Just attack the silver sword. The stand will resist its owner. So I stand and walk. It retains the strong will of Ponaref. Don't let any AI touch the arrow. People stop chasing it. To see Diavolo wake up in the body of Bucciarati. As soon as he stood up, a volley of bullets was fired by Mr. If the body is damaged, Johnny can fix it. It is important to destroy the soul within. Naruto started thinking about the winning picture. I'll be back to see my friend Fugo. There will be no more night and day hiding in the midst of thought. In some way, he was moved up the sharp fence. Pierced through like a pig spinning further. Once again, the boss showed his rapidity. When taking down prey, in just a few frames, Johnny returned to his body, leaving Naruto's body behind, back in the arena. When you return from victory, you will be buried. Diavolo has two personalities. The Doppio is in the body of Bucciarati. Diavolo is in another body. People think he's chasing the arrow now. They also run in the direction of the silver sword. May the soul of this car now exist as a living entity. It's not intended to attack AI, so access is easy. Now the hard part is doing so to get the arrow back. That's what everyone thinks. Only Yono, you have set your eyes further. Yono said, Diavolo has been following the group since Mista's death. Not only that, his soul is hiding in the body of people in the group. There's two reasons for this. One is that when Naruto was attacked, there was no AI around. Two is, Chris, I can't see my father's soul when I'm around. because it's hiding in someone else's body. Now Johnny wants people to keep their distance, to be out of reach of King Chu, and you're going to check on everyone to see who's holding to souls. Jono wants to start with Mr., but this guy also suspects Jono. What if you're the one holding the boss's soul? So, Pucciarati volunteered giving body for test before. As Johnny gets closer, time is broken. Diavolo call Ra Chu King cut off Yono's healing arm. I thought he was hiding in his own body. He's in the same place with his daughter. The body of Mr. After taking control of Diavolo chase arrow. When watching the silver sword for the soul, he noticed its shadow always facing the beholder, not according to sunlight. Or in other words, our soul is the shadow of our soul. To remove the shadow, you need to eliminate the light source. It's behind everyone's head. When that sun is destroyed, the marriage proposal will also disappear. And the arrow was in Diavolo's hand, that way. But the game doesn't stop there. Jono turns blood from his body splashed on Diavolo into a colony of ants. The body causing name. The opportunity of 1,000 coordinate stand to push it back. Diavolo is not easy to give up. He pushes the Mr. Body away to pull his Theo stand. The moment Diavolo grabbed the arrow, he recognized his hand, transparent and can't hold it. Pucciarati also discovered the sun at the back of his head. He destroyed it completely to remove its power. Proposals that lead all souls astray, back to the old body. But this will also put an end to Pucciarati. I left everything to Johnny, the golden wind, in exchange for the Diavolo being dragged back to his body. It's in a more distant location. Jono takes the arrow and crashed into my Kim Jing. The arrow causes it to evolve into a higher form. Kim Prayer Soul. What is its strength? As soon as Diavolo activates King Chu to attack no, does all his actions come back? All attempts to attack are reversed. Or in other words, all the variables, all the formulas don't work. It doesn't stop there. It also has the power to imprison the victim. And the cycle of death Diavolo's mind goes through, from one nightmare to another. Thousands and millions of deaths. From being stabbed under a sewer by an Indian until he was sawn alive on the operating table. Everything is painful and real. But it never stops. Finally, the mission to destroy the boss has also been completed. The loss behind is not small, but the way we've all traveled together will never be forgotten. Before the end, the film reveals a mission that the group has received. Before meeting Yono, there's an old man with a lot of money, group rental of Pucciarati, to get justice for her daughter. Because of listening to his friend, he lost his life. After the investigation, it was thought to be a suicide. But he still believes that guy. Bastard, that's why she died. This case is purely an investigation. So Pucciarati handed to Mr. handle. And this is where Mr. is constantly encountering a strange stone. After tracking the information, old man offers Mr. find home name boyfriend, and discovered out this guy is the one who owns the stone. It is known that he is a sculptor, and this stone, since its appearance, he could predict many things. One of them is the father and son's medical condition. Old Ma, the daughter, because of her gratitude, accepted the sacrifice. Later, when you get sick, you can get your daughter's organs instead. Now the stone has carved its own Pucciarati. Maybe your death was destiny. Just by a strong will. The road of Pucciarati can be reached here. To accomplish the mission of a captai, today who fulfilled the dream of Pucciarati? Make the mafia environment cleaner. That's Yono. You're the new boss of Italy. It's a journey from an unknown person to be the head of a gangster organization. By Yono Giovanna. And it only lasted for 8 days, and I survived. This is going to be the end of the Beard universe, after the villain snap. And before we get to a new page, let the women express their voices. Beard Season 6 with the title Shaeyang will be led by Jolin the Beard, the biological daughter of who owns Platinum and directly defeats Dior. Just like my father, Johnny had his debut in prison. But this time you're not on your own, you're being falsely accused. What does love do? Johnny has a blonde boyfriend named Romeo. At one point, both of them were driving very fast. Romeo hit a pedestrian. Instead of calling an ambulance and calling the police, he asked Jolin to hide the body with him. Of course, it can't get past the police. Jolin was arrested for stealing a car and causing an accident. The boyfriend's name. He quickly arranged for a lawyer to silence him. Girlfriend, I told her to confess that I was drunk. I've been sitting behind bars for about a year. It's better than opening up so that both of you have to eat. My blue-haired sister is young. I still believe in the love of my life. It ends in a court decision. As soon as Johnny pleads guilty, a detail is revealed you didn't expect. The victim was never killed by the car. He died when they took the body away. So you've got another murder charge. A total of 15 years. That's why you're in the aquarium. If you're wondering, where is Rotaro now? When the daughter of a criminal, he's currently an oceanographer. Rotaro is more interested in dolphins than women. Same with the deep. After hearing the news that the girl was involved in the round of law, the lawyer to give her a hand. A pendant. Inside, there's a piece of an ancient arrow. Jolin opened it and accidentally let it cut into his hand. And she woke up her name. When his fellow prisoner Hermes was first harmed, it appears as a blue string out from her fingers. Johnny can rely on the vibration in his head over there to listen. Not only that, it's as sharp as a wire. After discovering the power, the first thing you do is you strangle the lawyer. Father lied. Colluded with her boyfriend's name to get her the sentence. 15 years in prison, it's like this. Inmates during operating hours. You're free to walk around the prison. There is a full library here. Ball court gym, especially if someone is in debt. Students can be supported to complete the program. Get a college degree right at the aquarium. Johnny is close to Hermes, but according to the curator's arrangement, you'll be paired with the scan. It was the day before. Johnny threw away the pendant when West was the one who picked it up when Johnson demanded it back. She asked for $200 in ransom. The story doesn't stop at the money. When scanning after touching the arrow, she also bought herself a stand. That strong. It allows her to shrink people and things. Of all the cool things I can do, with that ability, she chooses to make other people her pet. There's a guard here who was fired by SA after putting him in the body of a website parrot. Let your pet pick it up. Money and listening. The situation in general is a pocket bird. That weird thing was soon discovered by Johnline. It's a shame you took it from the hand of the sweeper. The person inside has logged out. Talk about the relationship between women. The ancients had a phrase: give way to each other, not to each other. It's a taboo to animal birds. Can't be ignored. Johnline was then petrified and become a substitute. This time she was taken to the body of a forbidden rat. Outside the West wants Johnny to turn off the alarm so we can both escape. But actually, she just wants to push Johnny into the jail cell, then recover the stand power to get you back to your old size. When you realize this intentio, Johnline quickly ran out of there. West then saw that. Tried to find. At that time, Jolin accidentally summoned her stand. In full form is the jelly when it's strangled by the jelly itself. He had to rush the body. The result is a beating. You have to remember when it's due. Even so, this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship in prison. Aquarium talking about jelly. This stand has to form. When stretching out, can be several hundred meters long with weak damage as it shrinks into full form. The power can bend the bars, but the range is about 2 meters. With this new power, Johnline reestablishes order in Aquarium. She punishes those who are bossy or bullying new ghosts, and cover for the weaker girls. Once in a library, Johnny met a boy in the know how to do that. It could appear in a place like this, but it warned you about something that's exactly like. You will meet tomorrow morning. Someone will visit your prison. And Jolie, if you don't want to lose your life, don't. That guest is Zotaro, your biological father when you to talk. You have revealed the man who put her in jail wasn't Romeo's boyfriend. It's a prisoner at the south side called John Gollier. He was a soldier with a good shot. All the witnesses, both the lawyer and the judge, were bribed by him. According to Zotaro, he targeted Jolin because she carried Joda's blood. Maybe this is a blessing from a previous life. While your two fathers are talking to Stan, where did a bullet come from? Straight into Tim Johnson. Fortunately, Yotaro activated it in time. Has stopped. After discovering the danger, Yotaro started teaching his daughter real combat lessons. The first is to listen to the enemy. It's in the shape of a tiny wind chime. Can fly back and forth and feel the aerodynamics from which to determine the location of the prey. Help John Golly aim accurately. While we're standing still, the prisoner woke up and rushed towards the two of them for beating up girls. That Rotaro was discovered by the wind chime and took a bullet through the shoulder blade. Rotaro advised Johnline not to take the initiative. So the daughter was, think of a solution. Johnline activate fireproof mode with a lighter, cause the wind chime to be jammed. But it also struck the other guards. Not even at the time of the fight. Is not finished. The boy in the baseball shirt came back the day before. Give your father a secret escape from the room. Instead of running away with Johnny decided to go back to prison because she wanted to take down John Golly herself. Johnny, follow him down to the basement. The enemy now knows of the boy's arrival. Move the target. He had to go into the water. Avoid being discovered by content. Guess this jungly shot broken water pipe. If you ask me why he shot, that's how I film it. Something more important. To save the young benefactor, Johnline caught the wind chime. It's like a declaration of war on John Golly. He fired a bullet straight at you. I can't believe the air around was messed up by Johnline using gas. Make him watch. And so the fish in the net was beaten out of the fish sauce. It seemed to have defeated the enemy hundreds of meters away. Johnny started to see the scene. Unreasonable surrounding statutes. It turns out you've been hallucinating, including defeating John Golly. Johnny woke up. The hand was too tight on the bone. He gave it to you before. Now throughout the room, it's covered in a white viscous liquid. Should be. This rice water is the power of John Golly. After many attempts, Johnline has woken up old Rotaro. Because to make sure I punched my daughter, whether this was a dream or real. Because he was used to spanking in prison, Johnson didn't take it personally. Then she dragged the old man out of the dying puddle. Not far away. Both were approached by Johnny Golly in prison. Without hesitation, he fired a barrage of bullets straight at Jolin. That makes Yotaro stop time with Platinum Venus. Right this moment, he realized that the enemy had to, and the ability to create illusions. It just came from someone else's. He took advantage of Rotaro's time to protect Jolie. To put wet soap on him. From Rotaro's head came out to CDs. They correspond to his memory, and his sten was taken. More power Rotaro eat consecutive bullets from. With John Lee, use the space to attack the shooter. But Dad's situation is critical. Jolin preferred taking you out. When going to the beach, the Speed Corporation submarine, the wagon is waiting. Johnlin wants to escape, but if you don't get those Takia discs back, your father's life is hard to keep inside. The White Serpent stand finished off Johnny Golly to cover his tracks and make me the author of this mess. Somewhere else, it's the clinic. The prisoner Mare, after contact with the ancient arrow, she had a fever and was taken care of here for a few days. When you wake up, she realized that her hand had a stamp. It's capable of duplicating objects glued to you. When removed, the Sao will merge with the original. Is a brute. Amos quickly figured out how to apply the stamp. In the fight, you made a house mob clip on the male prisoner's head. Make him faint. It's strange for you, but it's coincidental for us. On his head came to see this. Similar to that of Rotaro, Amos curiously took out one before he woke up. When you take it to the bathroom, disc in your head, and start projecting the prisoner's memory, that's where he hid the money. He gave him the power to stand. It's white soap. Too scared. In front of the images that just appeared Amos in front of me. Away. Maybe that's why Kia came to you. He said he had lost some of his memories, and he was thrilled to be asked by Amos. This guy always thinks he's bad, not worthy of respect from others, so he started over and hanged himself. This is when he showed up. That I received from the white serpent. It will make the selected object receive impact. That's equivalent to what he's going through. If he hangs, Amos will find it hard to breathe. If he drowned his face, you'll also be buried in a pile of Amos liquid. Almost. I lost my life because of this psychopath. You sold your life to your room. On the way, she met a baseball boy. It explains to you why Amos got the stand. I'm talking to the boy. Her arm felt burning again. Then the crazy guy is rolling the wires. By suicide, Amos tried to use all the sweet words. The cure is fake. I swear it's selfish. Then it's happy. I want to die for someone as great as you. Amos multiplied his head into and put it together. To push the disc stand in your head. That's why he's the only one who takes the final blow. This morning, the entire women's prison had to regroup. Last night, there was a case of missing prisoners. So the neighborhood will send a search party. After Ames is volunteering. In turn, the other sisters joined. Let's call it a little air change. Of course, there's Jolly. All 5 will have to wear a bracelet. Monitoring. If you go 50 meters further than the jailer, it'll explode. Just like brothers. You don't like to scrub dishes by hand. The remaining 2 sisters, Jolin and Hermes Stone, in a bar. Ask about the disc, as well as white soap. According to the memories that Jolin had, white soap hid his albums in the tractor's tires. If you get your father's plate back, you'll be able to save his life. For a while. Mers just realized I don't know. Now the group has one more. A total of 6 people. Difficult is the time to Hermes. Go. And even Jolin doesn't pay much attention to people's faces. So now we have to solve the imposter case, because it's very possible that person is the culprit. This led to the disappearance of the prisoner. All 4 of you are wearing surveillance bracelets, and one of them exploded. When you're too close to the jailer, the group moves to his location. The jailer was lying in a corner. I stood with him and quickly went to Hermes. He dragged you into the water. It manifests itself as hundreds of plankton. Fortunately, there is a double stamp that you have on the shore of Jonlin warned of the enemy in the river. But she still rushed out to save her by knitting a net and running on it. Seeing a new enemy. Content changes goals. Punch Jonlin through the stomach with a flash. But he didn't expect the hole he'd pierced. Has been made by Jonlin. When withdrawn only from the body. Take advantage when the enemy is fished. Jonlin returns the damage and quickly brought Amos to shore. Because Kia Content has infinite resilience. It was in the water before there was another victim. Amos is determined to find the culprit. The Kia girls are constantly fighting each other. I haven't seen a Kia since I started. Because I think AI is suspicious. So Jonlin chose to do it. Who can see her stand? In defense, he's a trainer. But after a few swings, my hand stood out. It's not black or shaved. It's all 3 people. They've all been taken over by it. After trying to move closer to the tractor, it's FF, a group of plankton that's bound together. After receiving the plate of white serpent, it has acquired human knowledge, the same power stand. In exchange, FF is responsible for guarding the dishes for the boss. 2 sisters, FF runs to the warehouse where the trailer is, leaving behind a band of ephemeral guards holding the body of the jailer. Split up, and you're going to chase FF. Hermes will retrieve the body and bring it back before Jonlin gets over 50 meters. And our main character, after understanding the power of the enemy, you make it chase. The tractor is running in the field. Step by step, FF's feet were slowly being eaten into the ground. It's been paying so much attention to the disc that it doesn't recognize 70%. Instead of finishing it, give it a blow. Jonlin playing brain intelligence. She said that FF did not obey the order of white serpent. It just wants to protect the disc, because that's what gives it life as well as wisdom. After a resolution, FF on your side, and agreed to give Jonlin Rotaro's disc. But maybe the white serpent planned it. He just left the platinum plate, and Zotaro's memory disc. It was hidden somewhere else. Maybe what he needs are precious secrets. That's what Taro is holding. The sisters are united. Is to report that the prison Sai was attacked by crocodiles. And the other female prisoners, they don't know. FF will be in the body of a prisoner. Back to prison with the 2 of you. This episode begins to reveal the last man who owned the white serpent and was behind it all. He's pushy, a young priest. Come psychologist for prisoners. This morning he murdered a female prisoner named Miratron, then turn you into me. His entanglement with the intention of targeting Jolie approaches the sisters and asks them to throw a ball. If the Jol threw I. If you catch 100, you'll get $100 after sipping back. This citrus-scented rafter. Then Myra Sol asked for another contract. But X10 means throwing 1,000 balls gets $1,000. Got to think of one thing. That the sun has begun to fall. The prisoners must return to their cells. So you've been made difficult by the Dementor. Cause the game progressed to be interrupted. It was time for Myra Sol to take her stand. It's a collector. It's going to take away everything precious from you. The loser, whether it's money or organs. Until there is enough balance, both sides have bet. Debt collectors exist on the conscience of gamblers. You can't directly attack it. When Amez had his liver removed, Jolin accepted the $1,000 contract. Even though we're out of funds, you'll squeeze the ball together, chasing Myra's son at the same time. Because only her name is invincible and the owner is not. When you know that Jolin's group is juggling and chasing Myra's son bribed the Dementor too. He stole the ball and made Johnny lose his contract. But Johnny has discovered a flaw in the game. Or in other words, you never said who's going to play with you. So Johnny's taking the ball back from the prison guard. It's still legal when it's just me and Myra's son in the elevator. Johnny threw the other 900 in her face to complete the contract and return the liver to Amos to keep my father alive. Johnline has contacted Speed Wecco. She wanted to hand over the disc stand to prolong her life. Then I'll go find the other plate to do that. Johnny's going to go out into the courtyard and meet the organization. On their way. Johnny was killed by a baseball player. Put your hand in a ghost room. It's called the ghost room because this prison burned down in the year 1984, where everybody standing is just its ghost. And the power of Importio, it allows the soul of the object to exist. That's how it hides and goes around the prison. When Jolin had plans to head to the backyard, Emporio advised her to lead Theo to support. That's the weather. He was a prisoner after being thrown into the water. The Bao loses all memory. Stan has controlled the weather since he was born. It's not affected by the disc. While people are exchanging, there was a stand listening. When I discovered it, all three rushed upstairs to cut off their tails because the goal now is to give the disc to the organization. While bribing the doorman. Johnline was caught by the wiretap. His stand, it's capable of removing the gravity of the object he's touching. After touching, the plate was floating in the hallway. To my whole thread. You can't control it at will. So Johnny put the CD in his hand. Kia realize that you've been completely disabled. Johnline connect the thread to the cup, then throw it away. Though, put your voice in to call the weather. I heard the neighbors call for help. Instant weather is present. He showed a wide range of creative abilities. From my scan, from the dense cloud that hides the screws, up to the aerodynamic fist, make the opponent burn because of friction. It's a very powerful force if you have enough experience. While the battle comes to a head, then all the doors in the cell are closed. Due to your alarm, the weather was quick to touch Jolin's hand, to lose its own gravity, then push away with his wind. Help to people go straight to the backyard of the room. Both are standing. It's not hovering. It's only one door from the backyard, but the enemy hasn't let go. He attacked at his most sensitive moment. The restlessness caused Johnny to urinate. You don't want to piss, so the weather says a bunch of biology. Then it turns out that a cloud attracts urine from her. Give it to outside. Urine raw. The red blood cells also evaporated from Jolin's body. Unfortunately, it's not blood. It's from your wounds. The reason for this, it's because Jolin touched the wall of the room. Now it's lost its own gravity, and the air inside is sucked out. To protect Johnline and herself, the weather has created an air protective suit. Your job is to find the enemy before inhaling all the oxygen. Johnline discovered a place in the room where objects don't hover. You push the weather there first, because we just need air. You will use your power. The enemy is one step ahead. He compressed the air in the vase. It creates a pressure bomb that pushes the weather away, cause your protective suit to crack. Friends in danger in the distance. Johnny ready to take off his air. To form a thrust that takes you towards the weather. It's called gravity control. When he sees his prey fall into a passive position, he didn't hesitate to fire his own volley. And I can't believe John was there when he won. Pointed to the number of bolts. Johnny used it to pull Kia into his leg. This guy doesn't fit either. He threw a jar of missing labels at her. Inside, there's aged oxygen and manganese oxygen. They both react with each other to produce a lot of oxygen. Turn it into a bomb. Shot through Jolin's protective vest. See that the weather has transferred her clothes to you. Enough time to finish off the enemy first. When your body explodes like a bubble. And Johnny did it. Take the card of the name. Johnny's gravity opened the door. But the person you met wasn't a guard. Or the prisoner that was Father Fujii. But Jolin didn't know that. Pushy is the owner of White Dragon. So she said, say your intentions. I want to go to the backyard to save Father Pushy. Even though I want to prevent. I even beat Jolin right here. But he doesn't know who's behind the door. So dare not move. Let Jolin go. I thought it just took one more step. Everything will be fine. Who's suspect? Pushy set up a prison guard outside his yard. After seeing Johnlin fire back and forth. At this point, Pushy's past begins to be revealed. He's one of the lucky ones. Enlightened by Dior. It's called the destination of the soul. It's called heaven. Heave will cause the soul to evolve into a form. Finally, in other words, that's what Pushy is after. The real happiness. The details of that Dior recorded in a notebook. This book. It was soon read and burned by Rotaro. So Pushy wants to keep Rotaro's soul. To see the contents of the book. Back to the situation. Johnline after eating the bullet was in one place and the weather. Even though the injury is full, I still tried to use my last bit of strength to create a rain of frogs. Indeed, this is a phenomenon that's happened in Florida. United States causes of tornadoes and tornadoes. These dart frogs carry a dangerous toxin. Johnny was lucky to have a stand, so he wasn't the bad guy. He died on his way back to prison, even if there is white discharge. And then Jolin took advantage of the space and transferred the disc back to the Speedwagon organization. Jolin completed the mission with 2 bullet wounds in her Fortunately, stomach. The recovery process was helped by FF. She's got a plan of her own. There's a guy you're following. He's a sport. getting stand from Pushy. But more important, he's the one who killed Alma's sister. It was 6 years ago. Sports with Black Society. To suppress her family's diner. They tortured your father to protect my father and my sister. So Alma's sister came out as a surrogate. As a result, he was killed. Into the trial. The sport was sentenced to 5 years in prison for tax evasion and brawling. That's why Hermes committed the crime and came here to exact revenge. When the sport is in the right position of the setup, Hermes tore the stamps to force him into the water pipe. Press to the end. Sports reveal your ability is to control your soul. Corpses around. Here are the animals that he's stuffed with. It's just the soul. So they're completely invisible to other people. When you learn of your friend's revenge, Johnny and FF came. As a result, FF was grabbed by the crocodile. But it's because your body can change so dramatically. So FF, give it another bite. Then turn your hand into a gun to cook it. From the inside, while the sisters are retiring Lynch, the sportsman drowned. The ability to stand. Let him exist in spirit form. That's not enough for Almas. He led her to sisters in pursuit of the trail he left behind. He fell into a room where he called up 10 prisoners' souls. Hermes refuses help from Jolie. You don't want this blood debt to be involved. Others in front of Invisible blows Hermes. Put his stamp on your body. Let sports bite them. Then unstamp the meat back, from which to guess his location. The prey is in hand. Hermes, pay both capital and interest to the man who ruined your family, and hope that will make the soul of the sister can escape. The end of the battle. Almas collapsed with 10 wounds. The guards came in soon after, and Jolin had an argument in the sky with the bodies all around. As a result, she was transferred to solitary confinement of society. In the ghost room, everyone out looking for a way to save Jolin. They've been studying the memory of sports. He was asked by Pushy to revive Dio's soul with the only bone, remnants of the death battle with Rotaro. Of course, with Dio, the bone is special. It can move and attack. Leave everything there for now. While Almas was recovering, FF came to Anasui. The other man helped. About this guy's biography, he's loved to disassemble everything since he was a kid. Take off the watch. Big is a car. Until his lover enter, he removed both lovers and it's lovers. Always weird being sent to prison. The psychological state is completely normal. Anakui is an unpredictable guy, but even so, he agreed to rescue Jolin because Anakui loved her at first sight. For love, this man will do anything. His stand is diving. Its first ability is to store damage. When Anakui strikes a surface, you have the right to release it at any time. Made the guards break their mouths without warning. Inside the solitary confinement, 2 guards after throwing water on each other. I've spoken back and forth. From a slight push, the conflict grew into blows. It's because another guy pulled the strings. It's called a survivor. It's from the old days. There's a group that climbs up to the hotel for a night. There was a man in the hotel who smelled. So the boss was very upset. That exasperating energy was transmitted to the stand. I stand and pass it on to the mountaineers. Like an electric current. The next morning, the group fought each other. Then go and stand there. Brought back by Dior. Give it back to Pushy, and he's using it to create a group file. In solitary confinement, Joel's partner is a prison guard. He's no different than a Tibetan clam. In terms of weight, he's 3 times your size. Jolin used Xiong to attack the priest. I don't know why you're still dealing the opposite damage. Although I clearly saw him hit. Until he locked his hands. And there's a view of the ceiling. Lolin just realized I've been eating pieces of meteorites that fell from space. That's the name of the prison guard. He can attract asteroids to fly at him and vanish before touching him. By smashing the leaves, he used this ability to defeat his rival, Johnny. After many attempts to intercept and redirect the asteroid, you've moved on to new tactics. Is to take your opponent's shoes and catch a meteorite. Make it burn. Then throw that fireball in his face. That's how John will now play. When you turn around, most of the prisoners were defeated. And there's only 2 left. An old Ma. The old man introduced himself as Kenzo. At 78 years old, he stands tall. Predict exactly what's coming. With Kung Fu, Kenzo easily dodged the bullets from FF. He just suddenly ran out. Not only that, he's also good at human anatomy. It took just 1 blow to empty FF's lungs. The air has to retreat. In addition, the application of this feng shui is extremely in the direction the dragon pointed. It will definitely hit the enemy. The pressure is still stubborn. You didn't listen to the dragon. They run into bad luck to get water as a result of being punched out of the jaw by his own arm. And fell right into the electronic chair in the lower room. Every attempt to escape, it just makes you sit shorter in the hot seat. Kenzo has one. When the meter counts to 0 to activate the electric chair. But he didn't expect it during the F fight. F used his sweat to create a water mirror to change the safe direction of the dragon. Though, you can hold his hand so that you can both agree endlessly. Just lucky. Unfortunately, that's not enough power to thanks to Johnny and especially Anatsui out before Kenzo kick a kick. Death to Jolin. Anakuin put his name in Jolie and reconstructed the bones in the old man's He's got legs. 2 copper tubes twisted into an X. From there cannot freely move in the direction of feng shui. Jolin ignored the cripple. Focus on finding Dior's bone. It's being held by a fat guy on the land. When Jolin found out about him, strange things started to happen. His body has begun to grow leaves. That's the consequence of touching Jolin's bone. While catching him, the thread also caught the bone. So just be exposed to the sun, then the body will sprout. This ability is controlled by a prisoner standing in the dark. Anasui hasn't found him yet, but it's a successor. You reconstructed the bones of a timid prisoner. Incidentally, he was the one with the sand. Survivors messed up the entire prison, so that when the tree touched him, the skeleton has become a potential trap and destroyed the master's hands. The ability to bloom flowers is disabled. In the meantime, the key of bone has evolved into a tiny newspaper. After enough absorption, the souls of prisoners. There's a gray baby inside. There is a star on the shoulder. Like all the Rosa family, Jonlin knows this is what Pushy wants, so you took it with you when you got outside. No one noticed there was a content following. It's harmless and extremely obedient, so they also let it go. But just take your eyes off it for a second. This green guy's going to be an assassin. The green led Zolin and Anakui to a swamp. When the guards' slaves chase, he knows how to knit leaves to disguise himself and work together to take the boat with you. But it's poisoning them both with its saliva. So the more you punch it, the farther it spits out. FF is trying to shut down the green control trainer. It's the one who broke his hands. He's being escorted by the guards to the ambulance. FF broke into the prison guard to assassinate him. Suddenly Father Pushy appeared. He deliberately revealed his identity. Is the owner of the white serpent. To buy more time. Pushy understands. What FF fears most is not physical torture. It's the memories of being human. He rushed to a handler to stop you from shooting. The other hand pulls out the disc on Riz' head. Who suspects FF playing Riz? Point the gun at your head and pull the trigger. Blood spilled from Riz's brain into the trainer. Or to be more precise, you went inside him to finish him off from the inside. Make Stan Green evaporate. Immediately after finishing him off, FF wants to go. But there's no sushi. Let someone who knows his identity escape. The priest cut off her limbs, cause the upper half of FF to roll. Done. The lower half of the body runs to the faucet. That can make you rebuild your body. But the sushi counts. He set up a water heater stand, so that when FF pumps water into the body, you put an end to yourself. On the Joel side, you're green after you disappear. Release the egg that contained the gray boy. Developed from the bones of Dior 2. The Moan Men followed him into the bush. But the closer we get, everything, even the body has shrunk. So no matter how far we go, you can't even touch the baby. Johnny tried to throw only, but the results aren't any better. The farther the thread goes, the smaller it feels like it's impossible to. Johnny tried to jump from the top. The result too. This time he also called raw stand when Jolin fell. Your body is smaller and your content is bigger. The results of that fall are endless. Until Jolin was so small that atoms. Into the quantum world, maybe that's the end. I saw the full Marvel movie, so Anakui pulled Johnny Raw before she joined. Ends part 4. The boy is naive, but its lotus is in the air. He decided not to let you go. With a keen eye, Anasui, in response, observed something. It's the bottle that he touched that didn't shrink. Or in other words, the things it touches will not be affected by stand. So you put the stand in the bottle. Then take Johnny out to lock him up. I stand not give up. Use the bottle to roll both as rolling powder. The bottle pressed against the Unnachi's leg. Johnny wants to break the bottle, but Anakui advised not to. Let the content escape. Johnny is in a difficult position to think From behind his fingers he touched her. Bring both back to their original size. It seems that he's interested in the birthmark. Your star image. I thought FF was gone. Then a rainstorm came. Pull back the weak breath. That's the weather stand. When you get a signal from the radio, FF immediately transcoded Mo. Tell the weather about the identity of the Pushy. Then they both quickly went to Jolin and Onashi. Thought that this full reunion will give the Pushy a headache. Who suspected the priest was one step ahead? I don't know when. He disguised himself as the weather and went with FF. So that when people are most caught off guard. He gave Anakui a stab through the gut. FF is a double-headed fan. Only Zolin is the least damaged. Pushy uses white serpents to get plates from Zoli. But the opposite. It's the fierce resistance from Rose's daughter. The priest had to throw Riz's plate. To distract you, the plate was thrown Anasui, who was dying. Force Jolin to let him go, because I don't want the plate to disappear. Anasui with noble love for her. You prisoner on non-Dewey ready to force take over his body. And FF, I don't want to take over someone else's you body. You are willing to sacrifice to save me. I think I've lived enough in this life. Have friends with great memories. Even if Jolin later gets the plate back. This is a new FF, so let her go in peace. And his Pushy. After getting the boy, they are qualified to perform the ritual. Go to heaven. Just wait for the good days. The next new moon. The order of the world will be reorganized. It's in the words of Dior. At this point, Zolin is like a mouse to him. He took you to jail. Give it to a coach. Likely took his Johnline short-term memory loss. Make you remember only the last 3 things. If you try to remember the 4th one, you forget the 1st one. This causes Johnny to write down information. Then I forgot that I was the one who wrote it. Even when Johnline met the trainer. It makes you lose your memory. She also gave you more information. And then take a towel and erase the words on hand before you forget the important things. Johnline knitted himself with Jasmine. The only thing to remember, that's to find the Rio Empo and the baseball boy. After touching the bars, you're also affected by stand, which causes Emporio is stuck in for information. First, you spill water on the floor. Second, you need to unplug. The 3rd power is leaking out. And Wednesday, you need to go see Jolin. Forget one of 4 things. and Mario will not be able to escape from the room, struggling with a pile of papers. Then Jolin landed to be reunited with you. Before the two exchanged the most important information, Meow was there to prevent me from being exposed. She pulled out her gun and fired 9 bullets, because Jolin can only process BA information. So there will always be 6 stealthy names. Johnny came up with a way to get her back by looking down at the reflective surface of the puddle. That way, you can stop all the bullets with Jiang and counterattack in reverse Meow when she is tied up to choke her. We use the radio to call the guards. Immediately, there are BA names pulled, just enough to replace Meow Meow's image in Johnline. You don't realize you've lost your prey, even punched by it for deflection mine. So the soldiers go behind Meow Meow's back, make her invisible to Johnline. Just as the game is about to turn upside down, Mario appears. Give Jolin a piece of paper with a 2-inch code. Let you reprint the image of the enemy by the very threads of Xiong. That's enough to cover the guards. He also denounced the enemy in front of Johnny, punching Meow Meow non-stop, then force her to use her powers. All the guards in front of me. So as soon as Johnline drops 3 bullet casings, her image with Empoleon invisible to them. This is how Cosms gets out of jail easily. Everyone leaves in a hurry when the time comes. Heaven is near. Outside Kia, something changed inside the Pushy when he accidentally hit a Woma. On her fingernails, she immediately grew long raw and punched the chicken eggs she bought, hatched into deformed chickens. All that time, there's a missing person. Missing items that are not mentioned. It's the weather today. After recovery, Anachi went to see her roommate. I found out the weather behind the neck also has star birthmarks. It's like Jolin and the baby. He still can't remember why he went to prison. One thing the weather is sure of: Pussy is the enemy. About Pussy, he's hitchhiking. At the ceremony, the driver's car broke down, so he had to go down for a walk of bad luck. How can you be held hostage by an addict? Instead of protesting, Pussy started preaching to him to turn him into a trainer with Sten Bowie. Rapidity is just like the song. This Sten turns out to be a fantasy world. Let the fictional characters come out, disturbing the whole world. Basically, this stand is pretty unbeatable. Who are trapped in this illusory world. Attack in the most mythical ways. The weather after eating. Realize that you can also create new characters. So I asked, original Valve draw out a stand. It's capable of sucking up all the cartoon characters. Even you and Anachi. That makes the situation stable. And the author of the mess. I'm on the plane. When I hear the news, all the characters I've created have been erased. He was shocked and died on the spot. On the Jolin side, she went to the house of her boyfriend who sold her out. Instead of revenge, she only asked for money and a helicopter to chase Pushy. Before you can fly far, bad luck will come. The eyes of all 3 suddenly bleeding and sticking together. In a difficult situation, Johnny decides to pull hands Hermes and Mario. Jump out, then wire and helicopter to land in a river below. Right now, they met the trainer who ran the stick punch. That caused the drooping eyelid syndrome. He called himself Rikiel, a fallen child of Dior. His rods are capable of sucking the heat out of his organs. This time he's targeting the brainstem. It controls all the activities of the 4 branches. Bacteria from getting into people. Then Jolin set herself on fire to create a protective layer of heat. To see the strong determination of the opponent, Rikiel is not afraid to do the same. He bathed in gasoline and caught fire to find out of the opponent. This time the eyes and mouth. What Rikiel didn't expect was Johnny closed both holes and used intuition to pinpoint his location. You can do that because he has a birthmark on him. And the jost is, we can always feel each other's place. Of course, if they're the main characters, Rikiel is defeated. He's starting to talk about fate. It's because everything happens for a reason. And it's all for a noble purpose. The only thing is to take the priest to heaven. He also revealed a secret. That Weather is the younger brother of Pushy. And he also has an important mission of his own in this grand picture. That's why Pushy pulls out the memory disc of the weather. According to my hunch, Jolin and the other 2 are locked up to a nearby hospital, where Pushy is meeting another child of Diabesis. As soon as Johnlin and Hermes stood at the hospital door, there was a gunshot coming from inside. Hermes looked inside the cold room. One shadow people, and at the same time, there was a patient who was transferred because of a gunshot. Things get more confusing in the middle. A big hole appeared in the room, and it's so deep that the light doesn't see the bottom. Johnny gives Almas a head of his coil. Let her climb down. When her feet hit the ground, Johnlin saw Ispu. You pick it up, and the surrounding landscape immediately changed to airplane cabin. When I look out the window, Johnlin only sees a dark color. But in the distance, you see the coach behind this. It smells bad. Jolin motioned for Almas to pull herself up. Right now, Versus start to reveal his true power. He can recreate events, has happened in the past, and make the enemy go through it, as long as they are in his land. To put it simply, it's like a territorial deployment. Almas when threatened by the silhouette of sports. I lost it and fell down. With Jolie, they're both on a plane. Code less than 400. If they don't get out soon, they will suffer the same fate as these passengers. There's only 2 minutes before the plane breaks its wings. When you can't climb up, Johnny decided to open the wings and flew down to find the trainer. But this is his world. He pushed Johnlin into a fighter jet. About another accident. Before landing with the pilot, Jolin threw the thread straight up the crater. I was lucky to get a police officer's radio. Then Jolin called repeatedly for a Mario for help. And the boy showed it to Jolin in a way. Is to fly a fighter jet crashed into a commercial plane. Because these are all events that happened in the past. Can't be changed, so even if you hit each other in the sky, you can't explode. To solve the problem of reunion, now it's about survival. And Mario solved the problem for the two sisters. After a wild Google, you found two guests? I was lucky to survive the disaster that year. And it's about Jolin and Hermes now. They steal their seats. Versus is higher. He's dragging 3 babies above the hospital. Get in the right seat. John was willing to sacrifice the life of an innocent man. Or not, the answer is no. In a few short seconds, they both had a complete solution. Double sugar with hummus. You use stamps on both survivors. One to hold 3 children, and the other to help her. Get inside. What about Jolin? You split yourself into threads, and get inside hummus. Turns out this is how 7 people get on a plane. It only costs a ticket. After successful landing, Turlin hung upside down versus up before executing him. But this guy had a backup plan before. He's got the memory plate of the weather, while investigating the Pushy's past, and versus mounted it on top of the weather. Makes me remember all about my past, and wake up stand really inside. Why Pushy has to lock it? Because it's so difficult to control and it works automatically. It's based on the rage of the weather. Let's start with the rainbows. They appear all over the world. If anyone touches it, the body will turn into snails. The appearance of the rainbow. The fight between Jolin and Versus. So she and Aim decided to take care of the prisoner. The two argued over whether to kill or control. Versus, he wants to have the power of heaven before the Pushy reaches. So he's looking for traces of Jolin's past and find the phone number, then the identity of Emporio. While you're shipping the plate for Speed Weapon Organization, while looking for plates in Emporio. Versus Jolin and Hermes. These two just got hit by a car full of snails. Hit and cause the limbs to change. That is, he calls up the past memory of a football team and pull Jolin's body away. It's calculated that with Jolin's snail feet, it would take hours to get back to the same place. But Versus unexpected. She got into the iron pipe and rolled to herself before eating a full punch of Yang Yang. Versus turning the land calling on the memory of the sea. It's sea salt, a kind of etched matter of snails. When you finished with your spikes, Versus went back to a Mario and he found the disc. But he didn't expect that before. Jol has infected Snail Cho a Mario, and now it's Versus's turn to be a soft animal. This guy will be helpful. Jonlin took him along the way to the Pushy. Now, the story of the priest and his brother was told. In the hospital where the twins were born, Pushy and Weather Arburo, there was a mother who swapped her unfortunate child. He died with the weather. Later, the two brothers each have a family. Later, when growing up, I don't know how the weather is used to it. Pushy's sister is also my sister. Two people quickly develop feelings and come together. Pushy, when investigating was true identity of the weather, I hired someone to separate the two of them. But what kind of nonsense is it to hire the right gang of hooligans? When I knew the weather, my father was black, tortured and then hang him from a tree. My sister, after seeing the whole scene in person, the barbarians threw themselves into the river. I can't believe the weather is not over. Talk about Pushy. Previously in the process of becoming a priest, and got to know Dior. Dior saw that I also fit in, so he gave it to the ancient arrow. He said pull it out when you need it. Pushy, after seeing his sister's body, was extremely regretful. At that moment, he received the white serpent from the arrow, and at the same time on the shore, weather also gets its stand. It's two twin brothers. When I found out the whole weather, go to Pushy for revenge. That forces the Pushy to remove his memory disk. Anyway, the weather is the priest's last blood. Back to the present. The weather when you have a memory. I only want two things. One is revenge. Pushy 2 is dead. You don't have to go far to find Father Pushy. He's hiding under the snails, just waiting for the weather to pass. While not knowing, why is he not affected by snails? The second person to suffer was Anakui. After beating both of you, Pushy revealed, I've extracted my own vision disc. That's how the rainbow works. The rainbow transmit information to the human subconscious that they themselves are snails. Then the body will be motivated to evolve. So the way to be immune is to be blind. He learned this in the old days. I met my brother once. When I found out my brother was losing his sight, the weather has combined its power to blow pools of blood high, then freeze against. To form these sharp tapestries, the Pushy will have to choose to stand still while the Kier go in and attack him, or open your eyes and turn into a snail. And he chose to control the Anakui to lead my way. On the way out of the beach, Anasui looked to one side so that the weather can attack the Pushy from the other direction. When the battle is arranged, it's as if fate had planned. Pusy flipped the rafters in an unbelievable way. To explain this, then maybe Pusy read Jotaro's diary. And history has proven, throughout the 5 parts, the Rosettas always win. Villain Pusy, when merged with the green baby, got this out birthmark. Luck is always on his side. This is just one of those times. Or more simply, plus AM. Before you go, Pushy has processed the name Versus to avoid being tracked by him. The passing of the weather ended the snail phenomenon. He left his plate with the same task, blocking the priest's way to Heath. The 4 of you set off together for the final battle. I don't understand how 3 adults let the kid drive. It turns out that Anachi wanted to sit in the back seat with Jolin. The love of my life is afraid. In a few more episodes, I'll fly. So Anakui pulled out the ring in her hand. Who knew when Jolin woke up? I saw the crocodiles on the side of the road. She had itchy eyes in prison, so she threw them out. He always has been laughing. Continue the flow of the story.
Where everybody's going to be is a space station.
When it's just a road away from the sightseeing area,
then people continue to encounter obstacles.
Suddenly gravity on the way down behind make all the trees, cars on the drifting road like on a cliff. Because of this incident, people have to leave their cars and hang onto Anasui. When you use diving to get into the road, in the process of clinging, unfortunately, Hermes was struck by a brick. After the rush time, everybody's going to the space station with the other 3 members. When the whole group approaches outside the house, then a green stand appeared to stop them. For stopping its damage, Jolin has hurt her right hand. The reason due, it's capable of changing the direction of gravity. So wherever it's touching, hands on, it's all upside down. Knowing the principle of action, let it hit the places where it's upside down, so your body goes back to its old state. This content is not the same. He saw that his technique was being manipulated and then repeatedly target the chest and head to places that cannot be restored. I see my girlfriend in danger. Nana couldn't stand to see Lao coming from behind. It ended up unloaded. The bricks break your face and fall in the direction of gravity. Janlin takes chances subjective rival. She slipped her rope around her neck. Kia's head is down. Let the Anakui hold forming neck pulley. Constant to hold on to the string to transmit the influence to Jolly. But Anakui showed his love. You take a dive through the thread and directed the effect on himself to protect Jolly. Give me space to finish the content. That's a beautiful painting. But the pushy variable came up. He came up and pushed Johnny up into the air. That's because he's the center of gravity. It's not that gravity changes from vertical to horizontal. It's about things trying to get close. He's all pushed back. When there's no fulcrum, Lolan was punched in the stomach by a green stand. Make your feet. Liver intestines mixed together. I thought that would put an end to part 6. But our heroine said no. What did you do? Pushy himself wonders about this. It is impossible to resist the effects of the moon. So at Sal the answer comes from the Mobius prize. To be easy to imagine, like a double-ended piece of paper tape. After overturning, the problem is that it is calculated that there is no the effect of the moon goes in and out. Out and back when you can't fight with Saint. They play like the Americans. He took a guard's gun, pointed straight at Jal, for bullets were fired continuously. What will Johnny do if he is exhausted? The answer is that there is no need to do anything because Rotaro's father Platinum has come. Is activated. Make time stop. What Pushy sees? It's just for bullets against the wall. When he turned his face, ate Rotaro's 1,000-pound punch. With Rotaro, Amis also joined in after the speed wagon set up. Now it is the image of the priest of integrity alone. Against the road of family, the author has added blog. AM Cho Pushy so he can move. Like while Rotaro stops time. After escaping the fatal blow, Pushy climb on the shuttle. This time he won't wait for the new moon. That's going to fly up into a region of gravity that's stand up to the next level. A divine ray of light emanating from Ma. Pushy makes it all dazzle. Then gravity returns to normal. Of course, his due stand is no longer the moon. Oh power! Give him the ability to speed up the time of the universe. The sky is blue. One blink went back to sleep. Ice cream in my mouth. My tongue is flowing to the floor. I blinked and it was midnight. The only one who can keep up with this speed is Pushy. Now with everyone, he's no different than the Flash hero. Even Taro's beard. There's a time freeze. Though it also doesn't help him stop the Pushy attack. So he had to borrow Anakui's dive to take the damage with me, which makes his pink-haired brother a target. Even though your stand is pretty broken, before losing another member, people think of ways to run, escape the divine speed by doubling the bullet from Ami's stand. Then shoot a bullet. When it's flying, we all hug and tear the stamp. Bullet SAO will pull people back with the original this way bullet. People keep a safe distance from Pushy. On the way, Anna laid out strategy. You know the predestined name of the priest. They can only attack a single target. So stay close. Just Jotaro locates the exact time. When he attacked 100 years of people, it's a chance to end him. On the Onnachi side, you're going to dive into all 4. So even if he attacks the AI, the person who is injured is still an Onnachi. Or in other words, the Onnachi will sacrifice their lives. This lit up the spark of hope in Jolin. Although not officially, but that's what Jolin said. For the true love of the elusive sim, it's almost like that. As soon as you feel some itching in your chest, Anachi's dive gave the Rotaro a call to stop. Time now. Standing in front of Rotaro, it's a Pushy with 10 knives, falling from the sky, and looked directly at Jolie. In that moment, Rotaro chose to save his daughter, and to miss the only chance, flip the rafters in half a wink. Pushy 1 by 1 finish. The rest of us take advantage of the time. The gold and silver that your comrades exchange with blood. Jolin tied Emporio to Adolphi to get you to safety. And she's also willing to sacrifice herself to keep her Pushy. Death in the sky. Now everything is spinning. Time, it's just a kind of loose definition that can change. This is the end of humanity. The cycle is turning to a new cycle. Emorio. And the living moved to a new universe. Completely new. Emorio finds himself inside the aquarium. The scene is still the same. But people look strange. Over there in the visiting room, it's still the bride's father and son. But your face is completely different from someone you used to know. This is year 2, not in the past, but in a new universe. Who died before the acceleration will be gone forever. Or in other words, Mario is the only one who remembers the Pushy. He also knew of your existence and determined to pursue the same fate with Pushy. This is the happiness he's been looking for. When you can know the future, important events such as war, disease, life is stuck in memory like a film. Humans will evolve and go to heaven. Pushy cornered Importio into the ghost room, but that's when his hands reached out, accidentally pushed the weather plate at the boy. It gave him Mario the power to control the weather. What I learned on TikTok in a year. And Mario flushed the room with pure oxygen. Causes Pushy to get oxygen poisoning. Don't let the movie last longer. You kill the priest in one combo. Pushy is defeated without completing the loop. The current universe is changing again. Jolin is not a Joester. And people change their names. Even so, but fate still brings people attached in the house. Locked together. All Jolie, Hermes, and Asui same whether go look on a try. They will have a better life. No more prisoners, no more priests. Part 6 ends when completely deleted. The existence of the front beard. Part 7 will tell a new story. It's been proven that the beard, best beard in the whole series. Let's wait for the 7th beard and Rife. Hello and see you later.